Okay, I call the meeting to order. I will open with the following statement. I would like to begin by acknowledging that we are on Treaty 1 territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. Our panel today is, to my far left is Kathleen Garrity, to my left is Ivan Derlego, and I'm Robert Buss, the chairperson. The assessor today is Kara Kaplieve, and the secretary is Katie Sutherland. We will be hearing applications for revision of the assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statement that the applicants or the assessor make at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the Board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of Queen's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the Board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the matters to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they so wish. Once all the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the Board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the order by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be a part of the public record. And we will begin with item number 3, 80 Kirkbridge, Mr. Cassiano.
Please state your name.
Kara Kaplieve.
Do you swear that the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. So you can affirm without the Bible, or you can swear on the Bible?
I can swear on that.
Okay, so please stand, sorry.
Sure.
Please state your name.
Bernard Cassiano.
Do you swear that the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
The floor is yours.
Okay. The subject property has a parcel ID of 0309116300. The street address is 80 Kirkbridge Drive. It is in 638 Richmond West neighborhood area. It is a one-story single dwelling with an effective year built of 2003. The square footage is 1,115 square feet. It has a full basement, which was recently finished in 2017. It has a full bath, a half bath, one shower, central air conditioning, which was done in 2017 as well, a detached single garage. The lot size is 14,103 square feet with land influences of bus route, medium traffic, and a rail line. The 2020 assessment roll is $395,000, which is a total assessment per square feet of $354.26. The comparables 1 through 4 are all in the same neighborhood area. They're all one-stories. They're all single dwellings with effective years ranging from 1996 to 2002. The living areas range from 1,128 square feet to 1,263 square feet. They all have basement finishes. Their washrooms are similar. They all have central air conditioning. They all have an attached multi-car garage except for the subject. The subject has a single. The square footages of the lot size range from 4,618 square feet to 7,861 square feet. And the time adjusted sale price per square foot is $353.37 to $360.25. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any questions of the assessor on this information that she has presented?
Actually, just one small comment. She stated that the basement finish was completed in 2017.
Yes.
2017. That is actually incorrect. The basement finish was completed this year.
Okay.
This year. Okay. Okay, we'll see if the panel has any questions. Ms. Garrity?
Just the effect of the rail line on the property, I noticed none of the others are on that rail line. Is there a negative effect? It just says rail line.
Yeah, that's just taking into account when the modeler's doing it as one of the land influences, yeah.
And do they apply a value to that?
They would apply a value to that, I don't know what it is.
But it would be a negative value?
I would guess so.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Derlego?
Yes, have you seen the property?
No, I have not. Our technical assistant did go out and inspect it this year when he added the basement finish.
Okay, that's all.
But for the record, the basement finish is a part of the value?
That's
Yeah.
correct.
Okay, and this is in Richmond West? So that's a subject property backing onto the rail line there. I see. Okay. Okay, I have no direct questions. We'll hear your information, please.
Do you have evidence to share?
Yes, I do. For myself?
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed members of the board, our secretary and assessor. Today, I'm here to have for consideration my property at 80 Kirkbridge Drive. And I want to draw attention to certain influences on my property that are, and just from looking at this right now, are not comparable to these properties. So I would like to put into record that there are some things that I think I would like to put into background into what I think should be considered into my property value.
Yep,
So
tell us about it.
Absolutely. So on the first page, I actually highlighted a few items just to draw your attention to them. Right now, my property is classified as medium traffic. However, I do not believe this relates to real traffic volume. Basically, I have a 4-lane thoroughfare with 2 lanes in both directions. So basically, it's a 2+2 right directly in front of my home. Additionally, the rail line is actually a very active rail line, which causes several disruptions throughout the day. And it actually, because of the disruptions, actually cars tend to line up and block my driveway, preventing ingress and egress out of my driveway. And that particular rail line, since it's located south of the city, is actually the main rail line out of the city towards the United States. So it actually gets quite active. The other items of influence that I don't think that we should pay a little bit more attention to are the bus stop. It's not currently included in the property influence. There's also a large retail influence, and I don't have it on here, but there's actually a hydro pole within the property as well. And I didn't note that previous. So going back on some history on the property, I paid $308,000 for the property 4 years ago. At the time, the property was assessed at $312,000. I did renovations this year to add additional bedrooms so each of my 4 kids can have their own bedroom in the home. Subsequently, this year, we were reassessed at $395,000, which is a 28% increase over what we paid for the home only 4 years ago. And I can truly tell you I didn't spend $70,000 to build my basement. I made it functional, I made it livable, and I went through the proper process of getting it inspected and following the proper process to get it permitted and legal. Okay. If you look at the property, I have an aerial view of the property. The star is actually my property location. If you'll notice directly across from there, there's several influences. There's a church, there's a royal bank, there's the rail line, and as I said earlier, there's the two-lane bi-directional thoroughfare right in front of my home. So compared to other properties which are located deeper into the community of Richmond West, my property has several disadvantages. I have a very close proximity to Pemmican Highway. There's bus stops only a few feet from my home. There's a close proximity to Liquor Mart, which results in loitering near my home, and is part of thefts that occurred around my area there. There are beggars that stand on the corner of Pemmican and Kirkbridge, and as I stated earlier, there's a very active rail line.
Okay.
So looking at the influences individually, I stated earlier there's medium traffic. I wanted to point out one particular feature of my home, well, not feature, but detriment to my home compared to the other homes further down Kirkbridge. And it's that unlike my home, which has basically the 2+2 dual carriageway, homes further up the street have private frontage lanes. So what those private frontage lanes actually provide for them are ways for people to park on the street without having to worry about being ticketed or what have you, and there's no traffic essentially that happens on those streets. And you can see just from the diagram I have to the left, there's a private frontage way here, which no traffic essentially goes on and doesn't obscure my individual property.
Good, very good.
So, my home is situated and also acts like a collector to several main thoroughfares. One is Hillmartin, the other is Merrington, in addition to Kirkbridge. And so I think there's a very heavy traffic influence there. In addition to traffic from cars, there's also traffic from church, which is directly located across the street. Now, my home is located across the church and has 2 mass services on Saturdays, 3 mass services on Sundays, and various other church activities, like religious studies. I love church. I'm an active member of our church, but to me, it seemed unfair to compare my property with others which don't have this as a property influence. And just from looking at these properties right over here, they do not have a large retail or presence as a comparable. Unfortunately, the parking lot has also attracted some criminal activity. In speaking with my pastor, Father Kevin, and some of the other volunteers at the church, we've basically banded together to try and prevent folks from dealing drugs in the parking lot, trying to go in after hours, picking up needles, etc., just so that it becomes a safe environment. But that's extra work for me as a homeowner in order to keep our children safe, and I don't think that's also duly considered.
Okay.
The second point, if you go to the next page, the rail line. My home is only a few feet from the rail line, and it's closer than any immediate home in my area, as you can see from the picture
Yes.
right over here. So each train lasts approximately 8 to 10 minutes, and they can even occur in the middle of the night. The trains literally shake our home, and we've felt vibration in our home, and I've had cracks which I've had to repair on a regular basis. You know, it makes you think, why did I buy this home in the first place? But we bought it because we didn't really know about some of these influences, and it was close to really good schools, which is what we wanted for our kids, and that was the primary purpose. There's also like a lot of noise from that. Again, people are blocking our driveway. We can't get out because cars line up right from that train all the way back. I already mentioned the bus route, and that's point number 3. So they're actually very active, and again, they're a congregation point for all the traffic in the area. There's actual benches there And people come within the area and they use that as a transition point to Pembina Highway. Looking at the retail influence, my home has a heavy influence to retail development, and it results in a lot of noise, solicitation, and property damage. So I've had issues where my fence has been broken, so I've had to continually maintain it and fix it, because I don't want it to be a danger to people as well. During our fall cleanup, there's condoms, there's needles, there's a bunch of other things associated with that. There's a liquor mart that's just a few feet away, as you can see from this diagram. And there's large commercial developments. There's Pembina Highway, there's a Sobeys, Scotiabank, Tim Hortons. None of these properties that are listed here as comparables have that as an influence.
Okay.
I've been charged with vagrants as well because of that. And so, I've had to invest in video doorbell because I get prank doorbells on my home quite immediately. Now, I know this is not for consideration, but these are just the immediate homes in my area, just to give you a picture of what is there.
Well, we don't look at other assessments, so
Absolutely.
I'll stop you there.
Absolutely. So let's move on
I
to the
think
next.
your influences are the most important
Mhm.
thing here.
So let's go to the sales books information. So what I did was, because when I'm looking at the properties, I couldn't find it comparable in terms of the actual property influences. I tried to take the properties that were closest to my property in
Okay.
terms of geographic area and also street. So the two main thoroughfares and two main streets that are located next to my home are ones on Kirkbridge and Hillmartin. So those are the properties I took as an example. So using the price adjusted cost and the other property information, I was able to put together a few examples here. So these are all examples of one-story homes, and they're pretty much all the one-story homes I could find on Kirkbridge and Hillmartin with a basement development and attached garage in the sales books. Now, if you look at the first property, 168 Kirkbridge, which is just down the street, although it is private, they have more private access, they have a private access lane, they have a basement finish. But if you look at the cost per square foot, they're in the $247 per square foot range. The next property, which is a corner house, which is similar, I guess, in that respect to my house, that has a square footage of, price per square foot of $315 per square feet. This is a corner house again, so similar to mine, and again, further down the street. Now, I will say these properties all have advantages over my property, but these are the closest I could find in terms of comparables from my
Okay.
perspective. 376 Kirkbridge, another one further down the street, has a square footage, price per square foot of $264. Again, just to remind you, I've been reassessed at $360 per square feet. Okay?
Okay?
The next house, which is actually more comparable to mine in terms of square footage, but has a private street, no bus route, no traffic influence, no rail, no retail, but has the attached garage and basement development, that is at $337 per square foot. Okay?
Okay?
So what I'm requesting today is just some consideration. I have a family of four. We try to make do with what we have. I have considered moving in the past, but I have a very strong connection to my church. I have a very strong connection to the area, and my kids have already rooted themselves in the school. And so I don't want to pick them up and move them. But I want to keep things affordable for us, and I want to pay within reason. My current valuation, again, is for $395,000, a 28% increase over what I just paid 4 years ago, so not that long ago at all. I found the best alternatives I could find, and I took an average of those alternatives, and that actually comes out to 290 square feet.
$290 a
Per
square foot.
That's right. I believe a fair valuation for my home, and I'm trying to be reasonable, because I understand our monies go to things that the city needs to pay for, and I want to do my part. I believe a fair valuation for my home is in the $330 to $340 per square foot range. I've added considerations in there due to the relatively new age of my home, because that is what a lot of people draw attention to, it's the age of the home. But it should be noted that those homes that I pulled up have several advantages over my home. And it should also be noted that my particular home is an infill home. So it's actually unfair in somewhat way to compare it to other homes that are just being built in new established areas, which are next to multi-million-dollar homes, et cetera, that are built around the same time frame. So ultimately, valuing a home with that particular square footage range works out to $367,000 to $379,000.
Very good. We'll see if the assessor has any questions.
Yes. The statement here you make on the last page about the 290 per square foot, is that based on the information ahead?
Yes,
Okay, and that is sales or is that assessments?
that's from your adjusted sales book information that is listed on the City of Winnipeg property tax assessment.
But you didn't provide the sales here?
Yes, it did.
Where are
So
the
on
sales?
number 6, starting at number 6, if you look at
Okay,
the actual value.
where number 6? I don't know what you're talking about.
Sorry,
Number
if you look at the
six.
sales book information directly
Okay.
below the picture, it references the roll number as well as the sales and the sales adjusted number, which I've highlighted in black.
Okay. Okay, so it was 386, 414, 200, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, okay. That's what it was. Okay. And where's the bus stop exactly? Is it in front of your house?
It's approximately 20 feet from my house.
Is it in front of your house or is it in front of a neighbor's house?
You can actually see it from the picture on point 3. So if you look at the picture right over here,
Right, that is not in front of your house then, so it would not have a bus influence, it's only if it's in front of your house.
so what happens is that when people wait for the bus here, they congregate and they move around the
Yeah,
area where.
yeah, but you're still a couple houses away and
That's a
I'm
fair
sure
point.
the bus line isn't
Sure,
that long, so
and that's a fair
that's why
point.
we don't count that as a bus stop. And same with the,
So just as a point of contention, on other homes which have the private front lane access, which is actually almost 4 lanes away, if there's a bus stop directly across, but you have that amount of space between the bus stop and the house, you count it as bus stop access. But my home, which is actually closer to those bus stops, and I can point you out examples, and I can provide them to you if you like, you count that as a bus stop influence.
yeah,
And I would
no,
beg
in
to
this
differ.
case though, it's not in front of your house and I'm just telling you the way the
Absolutely.
department views it, okay?
and
And
I-
that's the same with the retail, and that's the same with whatever else you made. And sometimes retail is actually positive because people want to live next to the retail.
Absolutely, and there was a
Yeah,
reason we
so
chose it in the first place.
That's fine, I just asked you a question and you answered my question, so that's okay.
Absolutely, and
Okay, and just so you know too, that comparable 3 here does take into fact that there's a bus route, medium traffic, and a school, so that is similar in traffic influences to yours, and that comes out at 357.
I would actually beg to differ. If you look at that particular home, that has also private front lane access. So
Yeah.
it has the access lane where basically no traffic travels on.
Yeah, but again, a private driveway can be seen as a plus as well. Okay, I have no further questions, thank
Absolutely.
you.
Thank you. Panel members, Ms. Garrity, any questions?
I think the information was, you provided us with a lot of information. I just don't know about the size of this property, how that affects it. You talked about the houses, none of the other houses had a property as large as yours.
Yes, and so I want to also put things in perspective with regard to that. If you actually look at the second page and look at that actual pie-shaped lot, if you look at that usable piece of land there, a lot of that land is occupied by hydro poles, which you can't actually see in this picture, and it actually creates an influence where I can't build anything near or around those particular pieces. So I would say that while the official property, land property mass is large, the actual ability for me to do anything with that land is inconsequential.
And one more question, you mentioned about the vibration from the railway
Yes.
tracks and the fact that you need to be on top of repairs all the time. Do you have an idea of value on that on a yearly basis?
Well, I would have to try to work out some math. I would hesitate to give you, but in at least 2,000 per year, just making sure that everything is settled in the home, making sure I don't have any foundation cracks, fixing any deficiencies I see anywhere. Like one example is like last year, because the vibrations, I actually did get a water leak in some of my pipes, so I had to replace some of them at piping. Luckily, I found it when I was doing the some of the pre-work for the basement, right? So some of those things happen, and you know, that's just part of owning and maintaining a home. I didn't realize the rail influence would be that big, but you know, my wife and I have discussed it, and the kids, and we decided to stick it out on the property.
Thank you.
Question.
Legal?
You mentioned the rental.
Mm-hmm.
If you have any, I didn't get, if there was any value to how much did you spend on your rental?
Oh, it was very slim. Like I don't, if you can actually see some by some of the pictures, like I don't do, there's no like
Approximately.
grand truck shops. My dad and I, we spent, I would say approximately $15,000.
15.
That's right, 1.5.
And have you had any recent appraisals done, like insurance companies or
No, I haven't.
nothing like that?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I don't have any questions. Thank you for your presentation. And you will hear from the secretary by letter, by registered letter, as soon as possible. Week to 2 weeks, I believe, it's where they're working at now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your consideration.
.1230 Fairfield Avenue. 182 Cordova. Mr. Smith? No. 499 Burbank Street.
Yes.
Mr. McGregor?
Yes. We don't mind sitting outside, we've still got a little crowd here, so.
Yeah, it's up
Just
to
give
you.
us a shout, sure.
Thanks. What number are you on now?
2?
4.
What is your address, sir?
We're
499, Lindsay, but we're 11 in the
He's
line.
11.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so, we're beginning with the report. Okay, please state your name.
We're Roy McGregor.
Do you swear that the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, Ms. McLean, when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The subject property has a parcel ID of 1206-178-1000. The street address is 499 Burbank Street. It is in the 620 North River Heights neighborhood. And it is a 2-story single dwelling with an effective age built in 1947. The living area is 1,472 square feet. It is a full part area for the basement. Basement area is finished. 1 full bath, 1 half bath, 1 shower, central air conditioning, and a detached single garage. The assessed lot size is 7,198 square feet. It has a land influence of bus route, external corner, heavy traffic. It has a 2020 assessment roll of $263,000, which is a total assessment per square foot of $178.67. Comparables 1 through 4 are all in the North River Heights neighborhood. They are all 2 stories, a single dwelling with an effective year built of 1945 to 1948. The square footages range from 1268 to 1757. They all have full basements and all have basement finishes. The washrooms are similar as well. Two properties have air conditionings like the subjects, and 2 comparables don't. Comparable 3 is like the subject, that it has a detached single garage. The land sizes range from 4,821 square feet to 5,999 square feet. The total time adjusted sale price per square foot is $188.39 to $274.05. And let me bring it to your attention now that Mr., sorry, say your name again.
Roy
McGregor.
McGregor.
Yeah, is actually here for an increase on his property. So, there we go.
What?
Yes, something we don't hear too often, so.
Everybody in favor?
Well, we'll have to hear your evidence.
So really, that is all I have to say. I did have a quick discussion with Mr. McGregor on the phone. I asked him to send me in some pictures. We didn't get around to that, and then I did ask for an inspection, but we didn't get around to that either. I wasn't sure if your wife was comfortable or what. So we are here at the board for an increase. So I will let.
I just read about that the
Yeah.
other day.
So I have
Okay.
nothing further to add.
Thank you. Do you have any questions on the information she has presented?
Yes, the comparable properties to my property are heavily weighted on one street, on Rose Street. I have quite a few more comparables to distribute to you. If the secretary wants to do that.
We will wait
Ready?
till
Yeah.
proper time.
So, comparison number 1 is a smaller house.
Questions? You have questions of the assessor?
Questions of the assessor, yeah. It's a smaller house by quite a bit. It doesn't list the numbers of rooms on the house. The lot size is smaller. I'm just wondering why that was used as a comparison for Montrose. And unfortunately, it doesn't. It's not the one on Montrose that I chose for a comparable, which I did provide to you.
Okay, is there a question in there? Sorry.
Yeah, I provided you the comparisons of the number of houses
Yeah,
on
okay,
November
no,
the
but
7th,
we're looking at this right now. So,
Yeah, that's why I'm questioning comparison number 1.
it was just used because it is a similar property. It has the same similar amenities. We can never get the exact same house, but it's similar to yours.
Okay, that's your answer then. Otherwise, I agree with all the other comparisons that you've made here. So that would be my
Okay,
questions to you. It's just the one comparison I didn't.
good. We'll see if the panel has any
Particularly agree with.
questions. Yeah. We'll see if the panel has any questions.
No questions.
I have. Looking at these comparisons, they seem to be quite a bit removed from the applicant. Was there any particular reason why
No.
the condition is equal?
Could be, yeah. They're all around
Did you
the
see the
same-
property? Did
No,
you?
I did not.
Anyways, I was looking at these comparisons, and they just didn't seem to be in tune with what was happening with item number 1.
They are good comparables. I mean, they all are
No,
around
but
the
I'm
same
looking
square
at the
footage.
sale prices of the other ones, like
Yeah,
3s and 4s.
yeah.
Anyways, I thought there was some particular reason for that, but if
No,
there isn't,
no,
that's
no.
fine.
I mean, if you look at comparable 1, actually,
Okay.
the land influences are
Thank you.
exactly what he has.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question. Do you think that, as Mr. DeLego was saying, they're spread out a little bit? Is this area pretty homogeneous? Would you say that they're all a similar type area?
No.
Would you say some of the comparables are in superior locations to the subject?
Oh, location? No, I wouldn't. It's just the condition of them inside. the applicant can explain in what condition this house is in.
Could I raise a question to location? My comparables, I tried to get as close as I could to my number on my house, because as you know, in Winnipeg, the numbers go from smaller when you get away from the river,
Yeah.
or in particular in North River Heights, when you get further away from Wellington Crescent.
We will hear your information in a minute. So
Okay.
we have to go through our system here. And that's all the questions I have. So, yes, give us your information and,
Is it the same thing I have here?
No, but you're gonna, it's, most of what you have is the same.
Okay.
This one has pictures, so
Oh, okay.
this one has pictures and it has,
Okay.
basically everything else is the same.
thank you. Okay,
Mr.
tell
Chairman.
us.
The first one is the subject property. There's a couple of pictures of subject property. One of the things that you mentioned about is, there's a bus route. Well, you'll see that just after the subject property, there's a survey document that shows an empty lot between us and the bus route, which happens to be part of the property, lot 49.
Oh, I see.
On the drawing, on the diagram?
This is.
Now, the first two pages are the subject property.
The bus is
Right.
coming down here. Okay. So you feel the bus isn't influencing you too much?
Not as much as the comparable one on Academy Avenue that has the, or on 166 Montrose, I'm sorry, that does not have the same size lot, so probably does not have that clearance, though I have not seen a survey document for that.
Okay.
Other thing about bus route, the 78 goes to U of M. Both my kids went to U of M. Graduated from there with honors. The 18 goes by there. I can actually take it and come right downtown without having to worry about parking. The Grosvenor bus, the 64, runs just on the other end of the block. And if you want to go to the airport, you can walk down to Academy, but I think that's too far away to compare. The other thing is external corner. Well, again, this speaks to the empty lot that removes us from that external corner. Heavy traffic has been one of the reasons I bought the house, because I could put my business vehicle and park it legally on Corridon Avenue and advertise my business, and it brought much income to me, according to my clients. So in that case, it's been a positive influence, though I'm sure they're put here in the intention of being negative influences. But I
Okay.
guess it depends who's using it. So I guess the reason I'm asking for an increase in it is for children who have graduated from university, live in other cities in Canada. I'm planning to retire and sell the house. And I felt that the influence of somebody seeing the assessed value at its current level would unduly influence the sale price of the house. And basically what I'm asking for is, I didn't do a square footage calculation on the sale adjusted prices for all the other houses that I have here. But I did do an average for them, and it comes out to $380,000 for the time adjusted sale price, which is what I was suggesting as a figure, but those of you who have more wisdom than I do in this matter will come to your own figure, which is fine.
Yes, we are mandated by the Municipal Assessment Act to find the fair market value of the property. So that will be our goal, but we certainly take into account any information that you've given us.
I've tried to be conservative with my comparison. You'll see on the page that I've actually superimposed my house information to the comparable information.
Oh, I see, yes.
So I've been conservative in the sense that some of them have fewer rooms, some of them were built earlier than mine, all of them have smaller lot sizes. Most of them are smaller in size than the house.
These are assessments, these aren't sales, is that correct?
No, the sale time adjusted sale price is right on the very top of the page. If you can ignore the assessed price, I know we're not supposed to use that.
Okay, so this
I
first
should, I
one
would
is-
have blacked it out, but I would have thought, oh gee, now I really wanna know what's behind the blackout.
Oh, you don't have to black them out, it's just that we
Yeah,
don't take.
so the assessed values have not been used, but yes, I read the letter and, no, they're not being used.
Okay,
Though I do say that people do look at these assessed values on the City of Winnipeg assessment site and use it as a part of the way of valuing what kind of offer they'd like to make on it. The pictures were taken yesterday.
okay. You have quite a few of them. Are there any special ones you'd like to point out to us?
Well, I picked the ones out that were closest,
Okay,
and also the ones that were not North River Heights, but South North River Heights, if there can be such an area. Of course, our house is right on the very southern edge of North River Heights, and then it turns into, I believe, Central River Heights. So, no, I could not find anyone that was identical, but I tried to pick one off each street
okay,
that was the closest to that. And you'll see that I have the time adjusted sale price list for neighborhood area 620, which all the houses are in. So if you wanted to check my figures, I went through there and I eliminated the number of houses I got. You know, that short list turned out to be something like 30. And I cut it down from there.
okay.
I was gonna do 2 a street and I thought, no, that's a bit much. Even at 1 a street, it's a bit much, I think.
Okay, well, we'll see if the assessor has any questions. Any
Okay,
questions?
yes, the comparables here that you use are the pictures of the exteriors. You don't know what the interior is like though, is that correct?
Yes, I didn't knock on the doors and get into the house.
Okay, and now, we talked about the interior of your house. Did you bring in any pictures of the interior of your house?
No, there's a privacy concern with the interior of our house, and that's not just based on my decision, it's based on my wife's decision too.
Okay, can you describe what your kitchen is like, please?
Kitchen is a regular layout, sink against the window, stove on one wall with a countertop, refrigerator on the other side.
Is the kitchen cupboards original or?
They're original, yeah.
Original, and the countertop?
Countertops are newer,
And is it laminate, granite?
laminate.
Okay. So you have not really done any updates to your kitchen?
The countertop's been updated, the floor has been updated, there's ceramic tile in the kitchen now.
Okay, there's ceramic tile.
There's a new lighting appliance. We're not supposed to count maintenance, so, but it has been maintained.
Average maintenance?
Yeah, paint, clean, repair.
No further questions?
Gary, do you have questions of Helen?
I guess, you've shown us this picture, the diagram, and it looks like you can actually subdivide this lot, is that what you're thinking?
There would be potential for that. Of course, that's a different application fee and that, and there's not too many houses that are built on 25-foot lots. There is one down on Academy, the Battleship House down there that's built on a 25-foot lot.
The blue one?
It's green, yeah.
Green.
It's right on Academy, you can see.
Yes, I think I know.
They're right on the corner.
I
It's
get
kind of
blue
very
neighbors.
modern. It's
Yeah,
black.
the only
Yeah.
disadvantage is the fire separation requirements requires the windows don't meet the neighboring house. So if you put another house in there, essentially what it would do is it would block off all the southern exposure to the existing house, which I don't think is a particular advantage. Because if you look at the second picture in the subject house, you'll see it has a lot of windows and southern exposure, which is one of the reasons that we bought it. And that picture is taken from the sidewalk. Both those pictures are taken from the sidewalk.
Okay,
And
I see.
the value that you're asking, you mentioned it,
I had suggested to Kara that it was at 300 and I think it was 89,000. which comes out to, I just did my calculations, that comes out to $270 a square foot, I think. Right now, it's assessed at 178. So there's a significant difference there.
178? Oh, okay, per square foot.
Per square foot, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, Mr. DeLego?
Yes,
Yeah, I think so.
so what number are you asking for?
387.
But I put in, I,
380?
to the letter, 389,000.
389.
Yeah. Which was the average of all the comparables that I had here. So it's basically an arbitrary figure.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. And I think I've heard, you told us everything, so leave it with us. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Leave it with us.
Thank you.
Okay, thank
And if you need to come out and see the interior of the house, probably we can squeak our way around it somehow.
you. Okay.
Okay? Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Two 22 Brock Street, Lorraine Prefontaine.
Oh, I apologize, I didn't know what the format was here. I only was able to speak with Kara late yesterday, so. So I just got her numbers just a few minutes before we started. So I do have the 6 packages and, I'm supposed to keep one, I think?
Yeah, you can just come here.
Oh, okay,
And I'll
thanks.
swear you in.
Oh,
You want
yeah.
to swear?
Sure.
Okay. So, state your name.
Lorraine Prefontaine?
Do you swear that the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I am seeking a decrease in the assessment of my property.
Okay, we'll start with the assessor
Oh,
again
sure.
and,
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. The subject property has a parcel ID of 12-052-161,000. The street address is 222 Brock. It is in the neighborhood area, 620 North River Heights. It is a 2-story single dwelling with an effective age of 1940. It is 1772 square feet with a full basement, a basement that is finished, 1 full bath, 1 half bath, 1 shower, 1 fireplace, and a detached single garage. The assessed lot size is 4,318 square feet. The 2020 assessment roll is $453,000, which is a total assessment per square feet of $255.64. Comparables 1 through 4 are also in the same neighborhood area of North River Heights. They are 2-story single dwellings with an effective year built of 1939 to 1942. The square footage ranges from 1,536 to 2,118 square feet. They all have full basements. 2 comparables, like the subject, have finished basements, and the 2 comparables, number 3 and 4, do not. Comparables 1 has air conditioning, which is not like the subject, and the other 3 do not. Comparable 2 has attached single garage, while comparables 3 and 4 have a detached single garage. The lot sizes are all very similar. The square footage price, time adjusted per square foot price ranges from $226.06 to $308.46. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any questions of the information that the assessor has presented?
I guess just one question about comparable number 4 at 240 Cordova. Just to understand the adjustment, so time adjustment sale price, 443, and then time adjustment sale price per square foot of 242. Can you just clarify for me what that is based on, that 242?
That's based on the sale price of the time adjusted price of $443.
Okay, and so the 2020 assessment for that particular property would be less than that?
We don't have the assessments, we don't look at the assessments. This is strictly the selling price.
Okay.
I
but
can't
the-
comment on the assessment.
Okay, but the proposed assessment?
I can't comment on the assessment.
Not at all, eh?
No, I don't know it.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. DeLego, questions of the assessor?
No, I have none.
Ms. Garrity, questions of the assessor?
No pictures, you haven't been in it, you don't know more about it. Okay, I don't really have any more than that, thank you.
Okay.
How about the location? Subject compared to the 4 comparables, are they all, how do you feel about that? They all similar,
I would say they're all similar, yes.
similar type neighborhood? Have you driven by the property?
I'm familiar with the property. I live in River Heights, so I do know the area at River Heights quite well.
There's a effective age on the property. Do you have any information on that, why it's using in 1940 instead of 19?
Because there was interior renovations done back in 2010.
Am I safe to assume it's sort of serious renovations, quite a lot of renovations before you change the age?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. Do you have any value for what was, permit value or anything for
The
that?
permit value here says $130,000.
Okay.
And that was 2010, so.
Yes.
Thank you, that's all my questions. If you would like to take us through your information, please?
Yes, thanks. I guess, I just start
Oh,
off by.
I've got you, I got it up yet, sorry.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Hold on a second.
Thank you. I didn't
Thank you.
actually print off the sales for the, some of the residences I'm looking at, but they're certainly in the assessment that, I have an extra copy of that isn't marked up, the one on the site. But I can start anytime.
Yes. go ahead.
Okay, great. So just at the outset, I just wanted to say, really the issue here from our perspective is just one of the equity and fairness in terms of the rates of increase for the valuation in similar homes. And in particular, I wanted to start by focusing on all the homes on our particular block. So I have those, the assessment notices. I appreciate, I'm hearing, well, that is limited information or assistance to you, but that's really one of the primary considerations here is all of these homes that I have provided in the package are on the same block as ours, and they're all, I'm familiar with all of these homes, and they're all similar in terms of their square footage. Some of them are larger lots, because the larger lots are across the street. But I'll just go through them very quickly.
Well, you don't have to bother going through them because we're not going to place really any weight on them. I see you put them in, but I'm more interested in the market value, because the other assessments, looking at other assessments doesn't prove that your market value is correct. And that's what we're trying to figure out here, is if your market value is correct. The assessment department can't say your value is correct just because it's assessed the same as the house on the other side of the street. That doesn't
Okay.
cut it.
Yes.
And the same thing, you can't say it's wrong just because it's assessed differently than the house across the street.
Right.
It's, yeah, what I've tried to do here is provide houses adjacent, houses across the street, houses behind, so
Yes,
that you
but-
can see that there's a significant disparity in the amount of the increase. The percentage for the increase is really at odds with all of the other properties. So that was, the main point that's highlighted there. When you see the square footage, the age of the homes, the number of rooms, the lot size, et cetera. As I say, the home adjacent to us, the home directly across, the home behind us, all of those homes are summarized there with the proposed assessed value. I appreciate that hasn't been confirmed yet. But anyway, I appreciate you don't want me to focus on that. So you have the information
Yeah.
and you can consider it. In terms of the sale, the sale amounts were determined by what's available on on the City of Winnipeg site for this area, Market Region 7, for the sales that were indicated as being relied on for the 2020 assessment, January 2016 to April 1, 2017. So again, I went through all of those in adjacent streets to try and get the closest homes and amounts there. The ones I've included there, 252 Queenston.
Is this in the material you gave us?
Yes, yeah, it's that the home sales are towards the end.
No, we
Yeah.
didn't get that.
Oh, well, the home sales are included on this chart, right? And then the details of the homes I've provided to you, so that you have that.
Okay, so what's the first one? 252 Queenston, you said?
252 Queenston, that's
you-
right. So
And you
that,
provided us information on 252 Queenston, is that what you're saying?
right.
Whereabouts would that be?
Well, that would be towards the end, because the first collection was all for properties adjacent to my home, across the street from my home, on my block, and behind me.
Okay.
So,
Bear with me for a second here, and let's see. if I
sure,
But this is the assessment again, so
Yeah.
it's
that's
not.
correct,
Yeah,
that's
and we
correct.
don't look at that, because
Yes.
this information may be wrong.
Okay, well,
This is your
the
time.
assessed, like in the last group there, starting from 252 Queenston, that
Okay.
particular property is a two-story home, 7 rooms, and that one sold in 2017 for $369. The price adjustment was $381.9, and the 2020 property assessment is $346 on that one. 240 Cordova, which coincidentally is the last one that Kara has provided on her list. That one sold for $427 in 2016, was time adjusted 2020 to $442, and the assessment on that is $412,000. So the proposed 2020 assessment on that home is $412,000. So that is significantly less than the $453,000 that is being proposed for 222.
What other sales do you have? You've given us 252 Queenston. What else would you like to?
There is as well 147 Cordova, and I should note 240 Cordova. It has actually a larger home, and it is on a larger lot. But notwithstanding that, it's valued at $410.
That's the assessor's sale?
Correct.
Comparison
Yeah.
number 4, okay.
Yeah, for your number 4.
Okay.
So just to make a note, the square footage of the home is higher and the yard size is higher
Yes,
on that one.
okay.
And then it said there's 147 Cordova, 1640 square foot, larger yard, however, at 5146. That is an 8-room home built in 1924. It was sold in 2016 for $421, and cost adjusted to $442,500.
Sorry, what address was that again?
147 Cordova.
Let me see if I can, is that in the information that you've given us?
Yes, it follows now, everything that, if you're reading from 252 Queenston, you're following with,
240 Cordova,
yeah.
but then I don't have
There's
anything.
no one.
There's no 147 Cordova yet.
Oh. Okay, I apologize. Okay, that one I didn't get, sorry, that,
Okay.
There's
that's
one
also-
eighty-six. No, that's
Sorry?
wrong. No, it's okay, sorry.
Okay, continue on. What was the next sale that
Okay,
you'd like us to?
it was 251 Elm Street, and that one is a slightly larger yard, a slightly smaller home, built 1922, so it is older. It's sold in 2015 for $437,251, cost adjusted to $460,900. That was assessed at $420.
What did it sell for, please?
2015, $437,251.
2015, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
So
Go ahead.
it's the square footage on the assessment, right? And then you've got the other two there on Elm Street, 244 Elm Street. That one, sorry, 251 Elm Street, yes, I just referenced that one, 244 Elm Street. That's a much larger home.
What did that sell for?
That one went for $440, and that's well over 2,000 square feet. It's a larger home at 9 rooms,
Okay,
and it's a larger yard as well. And then Boardroom, I was trying to get these all in approximately the same blocks.
186 Boardbank?
And that's also a larger home, 1820.
Okay,
It's an older home, 1923, 7 rooms. It was,
what did it sell for?
it sold for $355 with a price adjustment at $380. And that one is assessed, I appreciate it has limited weight, but it's assessed for $334. So if the square on this comparable sales report, the house on Cordova, again, as I mentioned, it's a larger home, it's on a larger lot, and the square footage there that they note is 242. The square footage for the assessed property is significantly less than that. So it's the assessed property there is 410.
Okay, we'll see if there's any questions from the
Okay, and
assessor.
the only other thing is, I guess I should just say, I know that it's noted that there's no renovations, there's no increase to structural footprint, there's no swimming pool added, there's no decks.
To your house, you're saying?
Yes, that's
Okay.
in the material that I was provided with, it said that was a significant factor
Okay.
for consideration as well. And in terms of the structure, some of these places have attached
Yes, the assessor has
garage.
presented that evidence.
Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
we'll see if there's any questions.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. The renovations that were done in 2010, what did they include?
They included the basement, and because it wasn't really a finished basement, so it became a finished basement. And the kitchen, there was a knockout of one wall to open up a room, because it was a very small kitchen, so it's been opened up.
So the kitchen was redone,
And the basement, yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned comparable for here, 240 Cordova Street, which is slightly bigger, but it's less than 100 square feet bigger. Can
And
you
the
tell-
yard is bigger, so.
Yeah, can you tell me what condition that kitchen is in?
No, I don't know those
No,
people.
all these
No.
sales, do you know any condition that those are in?
No, except the one, when I was waiting here, I looked at 262 Oak. There is a YouTube video of that home. It's quite an enhanced home. They described it as over 2,500 square feet.
Okay.
Now, I appreciate it's listed at 1702, but the video on the YouTube, when this was on MLS, it matches the current Google Street.
Okay, I was
cover.
asking you about
Yeah.
240 Cordova, and let me just
Oh,
tell you
sorry.
that that kitchen is original, so that could account for the sale price there. That
Oh.
kitchen has not been redone, as yours has. Now, 335 Elm, did you mention that sale?
That one, I don't have information on that. Let
And
me
you can't go
just-
off the assessments because this information could be incorrect. But again, 335 Elm is an original kitchen.
All right.
Okay,
One of the
262 Oak,
This
do
is,
you know
you're
about that?
supposed to be asking questions.
Yeah, I'm asking her if she knows what the interior
Well,
is like.
these are your
No.
comparables. She
Okay.
doesn't have to answer questions
Okay.
on your comparables.
Okay,
No,
then I
I'm
don't
not
have any
familiar
other
with the other
questions.
homes.
Okay,
I'm
you
sorry.
don't know what the others conditions
No,
of
I
the
only know
sales
the
are.
homes on my blog and
okay, thank
behind
you.
me, the ones that I provided the
Okay,
assessment
Ms.
for.
Garrity, would you
I
like to
guess
ask any questions?
you gave us a couple of pictures, and I
Yeah.
don't know what the value of them are because it's just a little corner, and I wondered, is this
It's a s-
indicative of
yeah.
other things?
I don't
in the-
have a quote, but it's a structural issue on the garage. It's not just cosmetic, it's a beam or whatever at the back, so I don't have a
But
quote.
how does this reflect on the condition of your property in general?
Well,
This
it's respect to the garage, it's not,
Just the-
there's no structural issues, or
Okay.
that's the garage
And
itself.
what are you asking? What are you feeling that the assessed value should be?
Well, I'm suggesting that it should. Thank you.
Okay, well, hold it, we're not finished
Oh,
yet.
sorry.
Mr. DeLego,
I was-
She asked my question for me.
Oh,
Okay, well, I had a question.
Sure.
When I asked the assessor about a permit value, she said the permit was taken out for $130,000. Is that somewhere near what you spent, do you think? Or do you have an idea of a final value of what was spent renovating the property?
Yeah, it would have been approximately that time, but yes, I think the issue is that there's been no enhancements to the property since.
No, I understand
since
that.
then.
I just,
Yeah, because I know a lot of these other properties have had similar work done
And that was
prior
done
to
in-
and subsequent.
And that was done back in 2010?
10, yeah, almost 10 years ago, right?
Okay, that's all my
Okay.
questions.
Okay, thank you for your time
Thank
and
you
your
for coming.
patience.
And you'll hear from us, from the
Okay.
secretary.
All right, thank you very much.
Very good.
We're a senior in the neighborhood, Joe.
275 Ash.
Thanks for your help.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
No?
But there's
Didn't know I was supposed to be as prepared as everyone else so far.
actually didn't get a lot of information on this.
Well, you'll be under oath, so you can tell us about your property.
Everything was fair or affirm? Yes. Okay. So, do you affirm that the evidence you're about to first, sorry, please state your name.
Distracting?
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, we'll hear from the assessor first, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. The parcel ID is of the subject is 12050308,000. It has a street address at 275 Ash Street. It is 620 North River Heights neighborhood. It is a 2.5 single dwelling with an effective age of 1934. 1,808 square feet, a full part basement. The basement is finished with the house has 2 full baths, 1 half baths, 1 shower. There's a 1 fireplace, as well as a detached multi-car garage. The assessed lot size is 3,500. The land influence is a school. The 2020 assessment value is $507,000, which is a total assessment per square foot of $280.42. Comparable 1 through 4 is also in the same neighborhood. But one comparable is 113 Wolseley. They are all 2.5-story single dwellings with an effective age built of 1933 to 1960. The square footages range from 1,568 to 2,596. They are full basements or full basements part area. All except comparable 3 have basement finishes. The bathrooms are similar. Comparable 1 through 3 have air conditioning. Fireplaces are similar. Comparable 3 has 2. Comparable 1, 3, and 4 has a detached multi-car garage, which is same as the subject. The lot sizes range from 3,807 to 7,209 square feet. The effective sale prices range from $261.97 to $297.08 per square foot. We did use the different ones because to find a 2.5-story in River Heights or in the neighborhood can be quite challenging, so that's why we had to go outside. I do want to tell you that 4 messages were left with the property owner and we did not hear back from him. We would have liked to have discussed this property ahead of time, so that's all I have for you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Questions? You have questions of?
I don't have an answering machine, so no one left a message with me once, just to say.
Okay, well, we'll try and work things out today.
Okay.
Yes. Do you have any questions of the assessor?
I guess one is my basement is listed as finished and it is not. And it has never been finished. I've corrected that on a previous assessment, probably 2 assessments ago.
Maybe the assessor could tell us what you have for basement finish and.
Sure. Let me see. And just to clarify, 4 messages were left on your answering machine.
Okay,
So-
that's.
Yeah, okay. Basement finish. We just have 190 square feet.
That's 90 square feet of.
Yeah.
And you're saying there's no finished area there at all?
I do have a area that is finished. It was a dance studio before I purchased the house, so it had a bar and wood floor, but the rest of it is unfinished.
Okay,
I'm sort of in the process of altering it somewhat, so it's a little more livable, but it is not finished.
okay. Any other questions?
No.
Okay, we'll see if the panel has any questions. Ms. Garrity?
You seem to have some pictures in your part, but we don't.
Oh, no, I don't. Oh, that's just for my reference.
Okay, and you already mentioned why you chose the Ethelbert property was
Yes.
because of the size of the
Correct.
house?
It's about 2.5 stories.
So is that also the reason probably for the variance in the ages, like the effective age? same reasoning is because it's an all point?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Have you seen the property?
I've driven by the property, I know where the property is.
And hasn't been inspected?
No, I would have liked to, but we didn't get around to that.
Okay. That's all?
Thank you, Mr.
I have a
DeLeo.
question. The 2004 sale, I imagine that was for the lot, or has there been like a vast renovation done that's a lot?
Over 10 years ago, and the market has, if you follow real estate history, you could see how much the market has increased.
And the other one is just an observation that the Comp 2,
You have a reason for that?
Now, I would assume some renovations were done to it. I couldn't tell you what, just let me check. No, the only thing I have back here is, and I don't know if it was done then, was there was a permit in 2015 to convert an existing front porch to a 3-season sunroom. And, yeah.
When was that?
2015.
Okay. And my question, standard question about the location, subject in as good a location as the three comparables?
Other than Wolseley, I can't comment on Wolseley, but yeah, in River Heights, yes.
Okay, thank you, that's all my questions. Like to tell us about your property?
So I guess one other is that I did in probably 2005 renovated the kitchen and the bathroom upstairs, which I did have a permit for, so I'm not sure why that hasn't been, but that was also taken into account on previous assessments. So the reason I came in is because I compare what I'm assessed at to a number of houses in my area, which I go with people on my street, people backing my street down, and I look at about 200 different houses, and then I compare it to 2.5-story houses or 2-story houses in my area, which would be very difficult to find results that have been for sale. But when I look at the values of assessments of houses in my area from the previous assessment, which I understand is set, to the one now, I'm running at about 97th percentile for the square footage price for my house, which I think if I look at 200 different houses, while I know that they're not set this year, I don't think there's going to be that many people contesting it. So that's sort of what makes me red flag. I wasn't able to come in the last assessment where I was actually about the 97th percentile for assessed price per square foot, in that I wasn't in the country at that time.
Okay. Okay,
So
well.
with that, I also think that the comparables, in size-wise, yes, they're somewhat reasonable in size. Lot-wise, I always have the smallest lot. I don't know why. That's just the way that it was divided out. None of the houses that are compared to have a school and a church across the street from them, which I'm not able to park on the street 4 times a day for school years and weekends and weddings. I have had, if I do park on my street, I have, like, they did the back lane this was a long time ago now, and I had to park on the street, and I've had multiple hit and runs on my vehicle because of that. So if I have visitors over or I have deliveries, I'm not able to get at certain times of the day because of that. So.
Okay, thank you. We'll see if the assessor has any questions of appellant.
No, you just said it, I didn't catch that, you renovated your kitchen and something else in 2004?
Oh, kitchen and a bathroom.
And a bathroom.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Garrity, questions?
When did you purchase the property?
That was 2004.
That was this 198?
Correct.
Okay. And the minimal, the 2005 renos are the only thing that you know that were done? You don't know what happened in the 2015? that
Oh,
was
the
done?
2015, I enclosed my front porch. So
That
I
was
had a
the-
front porch and I just put walls on it so that he could spend more time outside without mosquitoes.
And was there a value to that you can?
I did it myself, so I can't really say, because I probably spent about $5,000 in total.
Okay, thank you.
So I guess
No questions.
one other comparison wise, if I go 2 houses down from me, so they're across from a school and a church, and their house, when I first bought my house, was assessed at exactly the same value, and now theirs is assessed at $200,000 less than mine. And the only difference is I have a front porch and a garage, and I don't know what they've done renovation.
Well,
wise.
yeah, as
So
you've heard
that's
me
the
say
problem,
before,
but I
we
can't
don't know.
imagine $200,000 worth of renovations.
We don't know which is right and which is wrong, that's the
Yes.
problem.
So,
So the only way to tell is to check some sales. I have a question. So that white space on the map, the assessor's map, big white space across from your house, that's a church and a school?
well, there's 2 white
Oh.
spaces. So the big one is the school and the small one is the church.
Oh, and the church is a little bit,
Correct.
yes, I
Right.
see.
People who attend church park in front of my house all the time because I'm close to the corner.
You feel that devalues your property, having that?
Well, not being able to park at certain times, like if I come home from some Sunday brunch and I can't park there because, or have guests over, and without having to, so yes, I do.
Okay. I have a question of the assessor, if you would mind.
Sure.
Do you think that on your brief it shows across from a school, would there be a reduction in the value for that?
You know
Would that
what,
be a negative effect on the value?
Honestly, I don't know if school is a plus or a negative, because there's also people that will want to be by a school, and that can be seen as a positive. So I don't know what,
And the church I see isn't even identified because,
yeah.
okay,
I would argue that anyone who wants to live across from the school, such as myself when I bought the house with small children, could not afford to buy the house at the assessed price.
have you ever had for any reason, any real estate agents give you an idea of the value or had it valued for any purpose?
I have not.
Okay, that's all my questions. Thank you very much for coming and giving us the information,
Thank you.
and you'll hear from the secretary
Great.
in a little while. Thank you.
Can we ask him what he's asking and what he thinks
I was thinking, everyone else got asked that question.
Okay,
I expected
do you
I've
have a
been told
value
it.
in mind that you think it should be?
Well, I'd like it to be more between the 50th and 75th percentile, so that is running at about 240 per square foot.
Per square foot, which would, well, we can do the math. Okay,
Maybe,
Okay.
thank you very much.
that would be 433,920.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We need a break, you want to do one
No,
more?
I'm fine. Anybody else is
I just
fine.
want to get some water. I don't think I'm next, and I need to plug my meter. Is that an issue to sneak back in?
No, go right ahead,
Okay.
yeah, the front door's open there, we'll be here.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mine expires in about 17 minutes, so I'm next, so hopefully,
You're next.
I'll make it quick.
380 Cordova.
That's me.
Okay. Just give us the facts and we can work with the facts.
I think it should be pretty straightforward.
Mr. Sarazani,
Yes.
380 Cordova.
Good question.
Nope, I don't think that was you.
Do you plan it to be a River Heights party, or is that just how it,
That's-
just how it is?
Well, we don't do the scheduling, but
Yeah.
the person who does do the scheduling sometimes kind of lumps
Yeah.
property types together.
Other than that first one, is like, it's all.
Yeah, that's usually what she does, so.
Easier for the
do you
assessor to
wanna-
work in one area, I guess.
You affirm, okay.
Yeah, that's what I
So
said.
please state your
I'm
name.
concerned about this parking.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
17 minutes is
If worst comes to worst, we'll take a break.
Yeah.
Okay, 380 Cordova.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. The parcel ID of the subject is 1206-0287,000. It has a street address of 380 Cordova Street. 620 North River Heights is a neighborhood area. It is a one-story single dwelling with an effective age of 1949. It is 918 square feet with a full basement and basement finish. There's 2 full baths, central air conditioning, 1 fireplace, and a detached multi-garage. The land size is 4,190 square feet. It has a 2020 assessment roll of $358,000, which is $389.98 per square foot. Comparables 1 through 4 are all in the same subject area of North River Heights. They are all one-story single dwellings with effective year builds 1944 to 1950. The square footages range from 770 square feet to 922 square feet. They all have basement finishes. The washrooms are similar. They all have central air conditioning. Comparable 1 has a fireplace, same as the subject. The other 3 comparables do not. Comparable 1, 2, and 3 have a detached single garage. Comparable 4 has a detached multi-garage, which is also as the subject. The lot sizes range from 4,318 square feet to 4,822 square feet. The per square foot time adjusted sale prices range from 376.39 square foot to 436.55 square foot. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, would you like to ask some questions of the assessor?
Yeah, 2 things. On mine, the basement is no longer finished, and there is no longer a fireplace, which I have pictures of.
So that's been recent changes you just did, you
That was,
said?
I mean,
So
I bought the
no longer?
house in May,
Okay.
and yeah, they smoked in it, and the basement was untouched from the 70s, and it was pretty gross. So I'll talk about that later.
Okay.
And then, I don't know if this is for now or for after, but the comp 1, I'm not sure, did you go inside that house?
Comp 1? No.
Yes, because, I mean, I hope I can sell my 900 square foot house for $400,000, but there must have been some. I tried looking it up, I saw one picture inside and it looked like a showroom, but I'm assuming that there was a lot of money put into that house.
Okay. So the question is, do you know anything about the condition of that property at sale time?
At sale time, that house was refinished.
Okay. Okay, panel members, Mr. DeLego, question of the assessor?
No, I don't, actually.
Ms. Garrity, questions of the assessor?
The assessor, sorry.
No, what am I saying, the assessor, pardon me?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah, it is,
Yeah.
yeah.
that's
Okay.
correct.
Okay, so you're,
Again, we
The
just have
assessor.
the,
yes,
you've got a lot more pages than us. You didn't have any other pictures and you haven't been
No.
inside and.
No,
And this sale was, there's no mention of this current sale, the most recent.
it's
the-
post-reference, so we don't include that.
Oh, that's why. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
okay. The location? The subject's location as good as the 4 comparables?
Well, I guess that would be personal choice, because 380 Cordova and 228 Brock would probably be at a little bit superior because they have a park beside them.
Okay. And that white space, 1 house over from the subject property, what is in that white space?
I believe it's a park, correct?
Park and
Yes.
playground.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's not a splash pad, but one of those
no.
wading pools, yeah.
Passive park with a
Yeah.
few trees,
Yeah.
etc.
And that's
And
same with
the one on Brock?
Brock, yeah.
Okay, do you know anything about the other sales? You were saying that comparable number one is, was refinished. You know, did you check the sales listings or anything on the other three comparables?
Number 2 was redone, number 3 had part renovations, and number 4 really wasn't redone.
Okay, thank you. Can you tell us about your
Yes.
property?
I think I'm doing this right,
There should be 4 in the.
4?
Yeah.
That's all right, just somebody
Thank
needs
you.
to not write on that. Hurts.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try not.
There should be 2 market analysis, the offer to purchase, and then we'll look the spreadsheet on top.
Okay. Okay,
So, this being my first house, just bought it in May. Kind of was learning the whole buying process and all that, and then I looked at the assessed value and I paid $36,000 less than what it was assessed for 2020. And so the thing that I've been hearing all today is that everything is based on sales prices, which I think there's no better sale price than what I actually bought the property for. So I think that 322 is in line with where I think the value of the property is dictated from the market. And if we compare it to the market analysis, so one of them is for around the reference date of 2018. The one with three properties on it is closer to the April 1st, 2018 date, whereas the other one is, with 4 properties on it, is from the reference date to present. And if we compare, all of them are bungalows with pretty close to the same number of bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, right around the same square footage with a detached double garage. And looking at the price per square footage, the average being $347, the mean, the average selling price being $321,000. So if we take the square footage, the price per square footage, and take it and multiply it by my 918 square footage, that comes out to $318,500, which is pretty much right on par with what I paid for it, what the actual sale was. And same thing, I know it's about the reference date, but if we look even after that to present, the average goes up to $331,000.
Well, we won't be looking, I have to say, we won't be looking at anything past the reference date.
Past the reference date.
It isn't fair because that information was not known when the assessments were made. So it's unfair to bring it in after.
So does that include the sales, like my purchase price?
Yes, that's why the assessor didn't include it in their brief, because it's not good information, because appraisal was done to the 1st of April 2018, so anything that happened after was not known.
Which is fair. So then I would argue that with the way that the market has increased, that then, I guess if we look at a year's worth of increases, then that 322 should actually be lower to probably the 315 range if we're looking at the general increase. I don't have numbers to back that up, but just how property values have increased over the years.
Okay, so I missed what this other stuff was for. The first one here is, what is this telling us now? These are sales?
Yeah, both of these market analyses are comparable sales in the area. So all of them are, granted, one of them is post-reference date, the other one is.
This first one is all post-reference, right?
Yes, the one with 4 properties on it is all post. The other one with only 3 properties, including 349 Queenston, that one is all right around that reference date. So some of them, there's a 2017, and then Two of those other two are post.
Okay,
They're all right around that area.
and then the other, this is just this is a duplicate.
There should be two of these marked in. I realized I forgot to put a better year on it.
Well, I have two, but this one is, this is the one with 4, this is the one with 3, and then this one is a
Oh,
duplicate
it's
of
a
this
duplicate.
one.
Yeah, you should only have the two.
And that one
My-
is a duplicate of this one, okay.
So then maybe, yeah, there should have been,
And this Cordova was a duplicate as well.
yeah, so then you just had, I think you got two packages then. That's all.
Okay.
Okay. Sure.
Okay, so now we have some sales.
Yeah, so if we're, so looking at the three comparable sales, all of them are range between 310 and 333, all very similar square footage. I'm gonna guess that these were similar to the inside of mine, whereas my house was, they were heavy smokers in it. In the upstairs, they took out the carpet and then just painted everything, but didn't actually update anything. They just wanted to get out anything that would hold smoke smell. And then they left the basement as is, so yes, it was finished, but the only reason why they left it finished was because they wanted to show that there was no water damage. And so if we can look at this one here, there's some pictures in here that show the basement. So the current condition, this is what it looks like right now. The 3 pictures on the right, I've pretty much gutted everything. It started with the fireplace, which if you flip to the last page, these are the pictures from the listing that shows a nice, big, beautiful brick fireplace that I'm sure was fantastic at some point, but it wasn't in working condition when I bought the house. And I'd heard that I think it was for about 10 years it hadn't been used. And so I ripped that out, and then first thing was the carpet, and then I ripped out the fireplace, and then I just had to keep going because it all had to end up going, and that's where I'm at today with the unfinished basement.
Fireplace was in the basement.
Yes. Yeah, it was a wood burning fireplace in the basement. So yes, I am planning on finishing the basement at some point, but this being my first house, I don't have any money to fix up the basement at this point. I don't have a future date in mind of when that will happen. As of right now, it worked out kind of nicely because my parents' house had a little bit of sewer backup in their basement, so I could save some of the carpet from their basement and just lay it down on the concrete floor, so there's at least carpet down, but that is no means finished. So then, with the looking at the comps, both the comps that were provided to me and the ones that I provided you, I would like to exclude the 228 Rock because I think that is a clear outlier of extensive renovations, high-end renovations being done to it. The other ones are all very similar in the 320 range. It's slightly increased by the time-adjusted sale price, but looking at the comps that I provided, going off the 347 per square footage would give a value of $318,546 compared to the assessment of $358,000 is what it's at now.
How was that? Could you go through that again quickly? You took out 228 Brock.
So this was just comparing the values from what was provided.
Okay.
The ones that I provided you, the price per square footage, 347, average of $347 per square footage.
Okay.
Taking that number, multiplying it by the square footage of my house, which is 918, gives you a value of 318,546. Yeah, which is very, very close to what I actually paid for the house, which I know it's post-reference date, but that sets a very good analysis. That's what it was worth according to the market. It did include washer, dryer, fridge, and essential vac for about $2,000, and removing that fireplace that was no longer working would be about $2,000. I'm a teacher, so I had the summers off, so I just spent days hauling brick out of the basement, but that would be about $2,000 of work to seal that off and everything, which brings it, what I'm asking, I think the fair market value would be $318,000.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
Yes, just, so the only one here, the only one sale then on the second one that's in that's in the time period then would be 423 Waterloo,
Yes.
which then is at $368 per square foot, which I'm coming in at $377 per square foot, correct?
The one that the square footage that you provided?
Yeah.
You provided 389.
423 Waterloo? And you provide
423.
423 Waterloo, correct? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm getting
Yeah.
a time adjusted of 376. So your 368 is without the time adjustment,
Okay.
right? Yeah, okay,
But
and,
yeah.
yeah, okay. And I just want to clarify, so you said you removed the basement finish and took away the fireplace, so the fireplace is not coming back?
Nope.
And you do plan to do the basement finish, but you're not sure when?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, any questions from the panel?
None from me.
I don't think I have any questions. What are you going to do with the brick?
I thought about saving some of it, and then it didn't come out as nicely as I thought, and then I just got so fed up with it that I just took a sledgehammer to it, and ripped it out.
Okay,
Yeah, and I am curious, I know nowhere it will say that they smoked in the house, does that have any impact on it at all?
might have an impact on the sale, I think chases away a lot of
Yeah.
possible purchasers. It's a hard thing to quantify,
Yeah,
I
that's
suspect,
what I kind of figured.
but anyway. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for coming and thank you for the information. And
Thank you for having
we'll look
me.
at it. And we'll take call the meeting back to order. And we will begin with 499 Lindsay.
Mr. Chairman, yes, my name is Winston Smith. I'm the one half the owner of 499 Lindsay. My wife is not present this morning or this afternoon. But I have with me Kevin Olfert of Olfert Appraisals Ltd. He's a Canadian residential appraiser, and I've asked him to make a presentation, although I will answer any questions concerning the house condition and so on.
Okay, and I will be sworn in.
So would you like to swear?
Yes.
Please state your name.
I didn't think I'd do that. Winston Frederick Smith.
Do you swear that the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do so swear.
Thank you very much.
I'm not presenting,
And you're not gonna present?
well, I am, but I'm not gonna swear, but.
You confirm?
I'll confirm.
Oh, okay, so please state your name.
Kevin Olfert.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, thank you,
Please.
Mr. Chair. The subject property has a parcel ID 120610225500. It is 499 Lindsay Street. It is in 620 North River Heights neighborhood area. It is a two-story single dwelling with an effective age of 1978. It is 1774 square feet, a full basement that is finished, 2 full baths, 1 half bath, 1 shower, central air conditioning, 1 fireplace, and a detached multi-car garage. It is 5,598 square feet for the lot size. Land influence is park and rail line. It has a 2020 assessment roll of $445,000, which is $250.85 per square foot. Comparables 1 through 4 are also in the same neighborhood area. They're all two-story, single dwellings with an effective year of 1958 to 1983. The square footages are similar in size, from 1,170 square feet to 1,750 square feet. They all have full basements. They all have basement finishes. The bathrooms are similar. Comparable 2 and 4 has central air conditioning, as does the subject. And comparable 1, 2, and 4 have a detached multi-garage, as does the subject. The lot sizes range from 4,501 square feet to 5,595 square feet. The time-adjusted sale prices range from $263.43 to $356.55. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions of the information that the assessor has presented?
No, well, yes. I'll start with this. The assessment change from last assessment to this is $56,000 or 14%. 0.6 of the assessment's FAQ regarding assessment states that the average range is of change is 2% to 7%, and the subject is a 14% change. So I'm wondering why this subject has such, if you could explain.
Because that gives an average, and there's always some that are, of course, higher, and there's some that are lower.
Okay, so why do you think this property is higher? You stated just now that the effective age is equal to the actual age.
Mhm.
Why do you think this, it's 14, how can you validate 14% increase?
I can't tell you. I don't know.
You don't know? Okay. So, is it fair to say that that's, given that you've identified the property as having effective age equal to the actual age of the home, that having a higher than average increase in assessed value is kind of a bit of a stretch?
I don't really know what you're asking, a bit of a stretch, what do you mean?
Well, the FAQ for the assessment says that the average change in assessed values is 2% to 7%.
Yeah, you asked me that already.
Right.
Yeah.
And so this subject has increased 14%.
Correct.
So I'm wondering,
Again, some are higher, some are lower.
okay, so it's random?
Pardon me, it's random?
Yeah, like,
What do you mean? The sales here support the subject, so.
okay. Okay, so it's about this, the comparables that you've chosen then?
It's about the market value from at April 1st, 2018 that supports the subject, yes.
Based on the comps that you've chosen?
These are just 4 of them, but there certainly is more.
Okay, when we came in today, we were notified that 2 of the comparables have been switched out. The comparables that were sent to the homeowner previously, the 4 of them, 2 of them were removed.
I can't comment on that. I'm the one who was in charge of this, so these are the comparables that I chose.
Okay, so the ones that were given to us today, the 2 new ones, can you comment on those, why they were added
I don't
in?
know what you're talking about. This is what I picked, so I'm not sure what you have previously.
Okay. The comparables that Winston received were 296 Waverly, 259 Queenston, 335 Campbell, and 477 Brock.
Mhm.
So the Queenston and the Brock Street ones were removed and replaced with 327 Waverly and 169 Lindsay. That's the information we received today when we walked in.
You received this today, yeah.
Yeah. So we're wondering if you could comment on
I
why
can't comment
2 were.
because this is what, I'm the one doing the hearing, and these are the comps that I picked.
Okay, it's just confusing that how we handle that.
Well,
Same.
an assessor at the time earlier decided that those were good comps, but the assessor at this time it's been given to her, and it's a new
Okay.
thing to her, so she looks for what she considers to be fair comparables. It's whether these are fair or not is the question, really,
Okay,
whether they're backing
so-
up the value.
Right, so then my question is, were the 2 that were removed deemed to be unfair?
I can't comment on the two, I don't know about the two.
You know what I'm saying? Like, why were they taken out? If they were taken out
Because the assessor
because
feels that these are correct, it has no reflection on the other two. If you have those other two with you and you want to present them as evidence,
no, they're,
you go right ahead.
they're
but-
evidence that
Yeah.
the assessment department gave, not me,
Yeah, yeah,
so.
but, I mean, there's
Just kinda
probably,
curious
there's probably
why.
a couple hundred sales in this area here that they can choose from, and she
200.
seems to think that these are the best, so I don't think it's really, it's not really important what was given before.
Okay.
If you have those, you're welcome to present them, that's
Okay.
all. Sorry for answering for you.
I'm just wondering if the sales that were added in were thought to be better, or like, but we don't know, so that's confusing. Because, and it's confusing to me because they introduce more randomization. Okay? We've gone from adding, we've added those two new sales, one is lower than all the others, and one is higher than all the others. So we're increasing the range of sale price. I don't see how that can be helpful. So this is all very confusing, right? When we're looking at, we're trying to find good comparables, and we have a range of 359 to 565. Like, we're talking a couple $100,000 difference here, right? I'm an appraiser, we try to get a 5% range, not a 25% range.
Well,
So-
you're welcome to ask the assessor questions on these comparables as to why she thinks they're good comparables.
Okay. Why do you think these are good comparables?
Because they're all in the same area, they're all 2 stories, they're all single dwellings. They have roughly the same effective age, they're similar square footage, they all have basements, they all have basement finishes. They're similar in washrooms, air conditioning, and garages,
Okay,
and the lot sizes.
okay. But their values, their sale price values range a lot.
Yeah,
So we're looking at different market sectors in a way. We're going from price point to price point. How can we get a good, like,
I looked at the amenities or at the characteristics of the
Okay.
places.
okay. Is there any other attributes to value that perhaps we're losing there then? Or does that encapsulate everything?
I'm not sure on the question you're
Okay,
asking.
you're looking at the statistics that are on the page here about number of bathrooms, living area, and those types of things.
Mhm,
But the sale prices vary hugely.
mhm.
So what are we missing there? Because we're getting, although the stats are the same or similar, you're saying, as far as number of rooms or square footage or things like that, but the sale price is varying vastly. So we're missing something. We're missing an attribute to value there, right?
Well, we don't know what motivated the seller to pay the price they did. Was
Right.
it because it had a renovated kitchen, or was it because they liked the color of the paint? That we don't know.
Right, right. So we would like to narrow that range, obviously, right? The problem is partly that this neighborhood has grown from Academy and it was developed southward, right?
You can save that for your presentation, maybe. We're still.
Oh, I see.
We're just doing
We're just
questions
focusing on
right now.
questions?
Yes.
Okay.
And then you can tell us about the neighborhood or about your property in particular.
Well, she hasn't been able to answer my questions yet, so I guess we'll move on from that then.
Okay, we'll see if the panel members, Mr. Derlego, any questions? I believe we're working on the assessor's information right now.
No, I was questioning you some about the comparison and how the sales different, but other than that, not any really questions.
Okay, Ms. Garrity?
I just wonder how you bring a 2005 sale price into today's, what's your process on that? It's model, I often hear model driven, so I'm not sure how you get from 183.
Well, because the
Then-
market has increased substantially in the past 10, 15 years. Like, the height of the market was 2005, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's when prices quadrupled.
Okay, we're looking at just the last, like, the 2-year block here though.
I'm just answering
Excuse
her
me, she's
question.
answering the question. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so then this isn't, you didn't take this figure though and just multiply it or find an amount?
No,
Okay.
no, that's the subject sale.
Right, thank you.
Do you know anything about the sales that you presented in terms of, from the MLS, the condition of them or something like that? the average
I
condition?
know 3 and 4 are in nice condition.
The first two are the closest in range to your subject property. Do you know anything about
No, I
those two?
don't.
Okay. In terms of location, the subject property is the furthest south, and I think, from what I know of this area, the further you move south, everybody wants to be closer to Wellington Crescent in the north. Is that, would you consider the subject to be the least desirable location of any of the comparables?
No, I would not, because if you go south end, there's also, that's where the newer houses are, so people like the south end for the newer age.
Okay. And the subject property is 1978 built?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all my questions. If you would like to...
If I could speak first. Mr. Chairman, thank you. I know that the city has taken pictures of the subject property. They were taken at my invitation several years ago, because I've been before the board many occasions, the last one being the last 2 years ago. So the city is well aware of the condition of the house, which is not upgraded. And it's being compared, and I've made this argument several times, but it's not compared with the character homes that are in River Heights. I lived for 30 years on 204 Montrose Street. This home is an infill home, which you were pointing out is closer to the south, and it is closer to the homes being built across, or were built, across from Corden Avenue. But it does not have the character construction that a character home that has, so that's a fact. And as I say, its condition, it's upgraded to the extent that we replaced the kitchen prior to April the 1st. It's recorded on a previous record, so the city's well aware of it, so 1915 I think it was. And other than that, it's not, and there was a couple of windows in the family room that were changed out and replaced. Other than that, there's no change in any other windows and so on. It's in the same condition. The basement area really needs upgrading, but it is finished. The assessor is correct in the fact, but it is a house that does need some upgrading, and it hasn't received it yet. And I said a long time ago, when I upgraded, I would be certainly reporting it to the city, certainly by way of permit, if not by phoning Mr. Dutchison or whoever it was at the time. So that's my comments about the factual scenario of that house. It's not in the character neighborhood of North Winnipeg, of River Heights, the North River Heights. So it loses in that comparability, and it's not upgraded. So
Okay.
those are my comments, and now.
Thank you.
I have some stuff here I can hand out to you if you like.
Okay.
Oh, I can
You
get
have
one
one
more.
more?
No, thank you.
I'll walk you through this if you would follow me.
Okay.
On the top, we have the address, the 2019 assessment of 389, and it's been increased now, proposed for 445, which is a 14% change, or a dollar value of 56,000. Comparables chosen by the assessment department are listed there. However, 2 of them have now been replaced by 2 others. So the middle of that range for the time adjusted sale price is 478,000, as noted there. The 2020 preview program FAQ states that the median assessment value increases of residential properties only resulting from a 2020 general assessment range from 2 to 7%, depending on the market region. So thus, when we see a 14% change in a house that has been recognized as being unchanged from the previous assessment, causes us to wonder why. What's to account for that? Our assumption is that on the bottom of the first page, that the purpose of the assessment to establish the values to fairly apply taxation. We believe that the properties shown by the assessment department are not fair comparables because, number one, they are part of a neighborhood, in the part of the neighborhood that has a higher than average sale price. We'll view table 1 to support that. Number 2, they're in better condition than the subject. Number 3, they're in the higher end of the comparables in the area. If you turn the page, you'll see a map. The assessment comps, as were provided to us, are noted by the pin icons. And the house icons are noted as the comparables that I have isolated that I will show to you. They're in this more southern part, and the subject is noted there. If you go to page 3, you'll see table 1. These are statistics from the market area, broken it down into regions of north, middle, and south areas. The average value on the bottom there, average values are higher the farther north in this neighborhood, or lower the farther south you go. So you can see that the average sale prices in the north are about $474, in the middle about $440, in the south they drop to $392, despite the fact that the homes were built at a later date. I think that's because people like the character homes, but it's also the location, as you may realize that the closer to the river, it seems to be more desirable. The subject is in the south of this neighborhood where the average values are smaller. If you go to page 4, I've noted at the top of the page that the statistics out of 256 sales, which is a little bit more than the market area data that is provided in this assessment, and that's attributed to the fact, I think, of 2 factors that I grabbed about 50 more sales, is that when you draw the line for the market region, you might get some on the other side of the street or subtract it, and the reported sale date once it hits the land titles office, so you get a few at the beginning or the end that were included or not. So, nonetheless, the average living area is 1,370 for this area, with a mean of 1,288 square feet. The sold price average for this area for the 2 years that we're looking at is $363,000. The median being slightly lower at $332, and the middle of that range, $525. Which I think, if you're doing some analysis, is too broad a range. As you see there, the minimum square footage is 600 square foot home, and the larger being 388, which is a huge discrepancy. So it's really hard to grab that and use that as a meaningful statistic, right? So that's where I narrowed it down a bit. The second group of data there, I took all the sales that are plus or minus 600 square feet to the subject. So we're getting a much more concentrated market data set of 135 sales. So there we have an average value of 412 with a median of 385. And so the variance drops significantly. The middle of that range is 398, which coincidentally is the assessment value for the subject, the last assessment roll. So using that narrow data set, I searched for homes that were 2 stories. I'm just going to reference my little notation of what I searched. Out of all the sales, I narrowed it down to 3 criteria: that it was a 2-story, built after 1940. I started, in the 1960s, but there wasn't enough sales to support it, so I had to go backwards to 1940. And plus or minus 200 square feet, not 600.
Which one are you looking at now?
I'm just describing the criteria that I used
Okay.
to achieve the proposed 4 sales that I arrived at there.
Oh, I see, yes.
Okay, so I'm not randomly selecting 4. I started with a big set, and then with that criteria, I narrowed it down to these 4. There was 6 sales that came up. One was built in 1990s, and one was, it said a handyman special, so they were obviously both high and low. So I didn't choose these based on any other criteria. I didn't look at the condition or anything else, just that criteria. 200 square feet plus or minus, okay? Built after 1940, that are 2 stories. These are the sales that came up. Their adjusted time sale values are noted there as those numbers are from the assessment data set, I didn't calculate that number. So the lowest is 332, the highest is 434, the middle of that range is 383. And so that is a better data set. Statistically, it's a better data set. If you want to look at those sales, I have that supporting documentation in the following pages, as well as the sales, the MLS listings for the comparables that were chosen by the assessment department. We can walk through that if you'd like, and I can show you how the sales the search that I performed were a better choice and more representative of the subject. Would you like to do that?
Yeah, if it's up to you, you're in charge.
Okay.
So the first one at 492 Waverly, where is that one of the assessors, you're saying, or?
492 Waverly, if you go to page 5, is the proposed.
What do you propose?
That is the sale that I'm proposing as being a valid sale, more valid than the
Okay.
assessor's
Yeah.
picks. You'll notice that the proposed ones, they do have some minor updating, much like the subject. But when you go to, and I mean, they're much more consistent in what they are in total. It's a smaller range of square footage. They're closer to the subject in their location. Less variance in a lot of those factors. When you go to the assessment comps, the notations reads like this. 335 Campbell, which was page 9. High-end upgrades, gorgeous bath, all new windows, stunning entry, composite deck, zero maintenance exterior, Hunter Douglas window coverings, paved stone walkways, extensively renovated, professional landscaping. All those things would not be descriptors of the subject. Therefore, I believe that comparable is superior to the extent that it's not really the best comparable to be chosen as a comparison for value. The next page 10 is the 296 Waverly Street. Rich in character, classic elegance, luxury upgrades, steel appliances, so that's soft closed drawers, granite countertops, tile backsplash, hugely updated windows throughout. Again, you can read on and on there. So it's extensively renovated, it's a character home in a more desirable neighborhood, or part of the neighborhood. Page 11, Brock Street. Upgraded maple floors, gas fireplace, fully finished basement, newer windows, plumbing, electrical, amp service, upgraded maple floors, crown molding. So again, all in all, the comparables that were chosen by the assessment department are not characteristic of the subject. They are far superior. They're not consistent.
Rock was removed.
Do you have any questions about anything that I've spoken?
Well, you tell us when you finish your presentation.
Well, okay, well, I don't want to go over some of the question with you.
No, you tell us when you finish your presentation,
Okay.
we have a format and we will go
Okay.
back.
Didn't know if I was going too quick or not. If you go back to page 4, I've noted there are a lot of statistics that all point to a narrower field of or a narrower collection of data. On the sales report for the assessment department, on the bottom there, comparable 1 and comparable 2, their time-adjusted price per square foot goes from $263,000 to $356,000. It's just an astronomical range when you're talking about assigning a value based on comparables. So the approach here and the difference in square foot, I mean, you're looking at a 1,200 square foot home versus 17. When you make adjustments on large variances like that, you lose accuracy. And it's just not, you're not having a good data set. So to use that, it just introduces questions and confusion and inaccuracy, in my opinion. We would like to see the assessment value adjusted. And we're going to propose that we don't even go to the bottom of the data set range. Like, we're not here to stretch things and move things, right? We're asking for reasonability. The range for, in general, go back to this, is 2% to 7%. Yet 4%'s been applied to this building. 14, what did I say? I apologize. So if you applied 5%, I think that would be fair. We're not asking for changing the moon, but if you applied 5% change, everything would make sense to us. We would have no questions. It would follow the data set.
And it was 389?
Yes.
By board decision.
No, thank you.
If you look at the bottom of page 4, and you applied that 5%, the assessed value for this property would be 408, 450. That's what we're asking.
Okay.
408?
Yep, it's right down. That's it.
Right. Okay, we'll see if there's some questions. Assessor, any questions?
Yeah. Where is this information on page 3 and page 4 obtained from?
Page 3 and page 4. Okay, that's looking at all the sales the 200 sales that are between the two.
So that's your information?
No, I mean, it's the same information that you have on your website. I accessed it through the MLS.
Okay. Okay, next question. Our records show that the subject property is in North River Heights. It is before Corridon. Why are you saying it's in south and using a boundary of Grosvenor?
Because the city inappropriately covers those houses that are not character homes. That home of Lindsay is on the west side was
That's correct, I know where it is, yeah.
So
good.
what's your question?
Why are you considering that to be South River Heights? It's before Corridon, so it is classified as North River Heights.
Oh, no, it's the south
So-
part of this
Of the
market area.
It's the south part of the
What-
market area. It's North River Heights, though.
Yeah, yes, it is.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's just what I wanted to
I wasn't saying it
clarify.
was South River Heights, it was the south part of this market area. Because Corridon is the southbound of this neighborhood, right?
Right, but
And-
you're classifying it as south.
No,
South
Yeah.
Park.
Yeah, Because the north bounds of this area is Academy, right?
The boundary.
The boundary
Right?
for this neighborhood is, the north boundary of this neighborhood is Academy Street, right?
And the south boundary.
And the
is
south
Gordon.
boundary is Corden Avenue.
Okay,
Right.
but you're calling it south or north?
Corden is on the south, Academy is on the north.
Right, so it is North River Heights. Okay, I was under the impression you are calling it south.
It's the south part of this neighborhood. Not-
Okay, no further questions.
It's in the 620 zone, I think is what you got in number
Yeah.
4.
And
Yes,
it's-
North River Heights.
And the
correct.
subject is near the south boundary of that neighborhood. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, it's near the south boundary of
Yes.
North River Heights?
Yes.
Okay, but it's still determined North River Heights?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Sorry for the confusion.
No wonder you have some.
Okay, difficult. Ms. Garrett?
No, I think I'm good. I've got,
No questions.
all your votes.
I have a couple of questions. Do you have a picture of the subject property? We've seen a lot of pictures here
No,
in
your
your
file does,
brief.
though.
Pardon me?
Your file has pictures of them.
Not my
Because
file.
we supplied
Not
it.
my file.
Wait, look, you came in and took pictures of it.
Well, no, I'm
So
asking
you
if
have
you
a-
have a picture of the subject property. Whether she has one or not is irrelevant. I'm asking if you have a picture of the subject.
We didn't print one.
Okay.
We can supply it.
You want me
Well-
to show you one on my phone?
No, we are not using phones in here. Okay, because I asked that because I'm looking, say, on page 11 of your brief, and you're showing us a property, selling price $440,000. And
What's the address?
477 Brock Street.
Okay. That was one of your comparables. That was removed.
I don't have comparables. Maybe the assessor does, but I don't. I'm not with the assessment department.
Oh, I'm fully aware of that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. So this was the one of the ones that came off the assessor's brief, is
Right.
that what you're saying?
Right.
Okay, but regardless, it's in your brief now, so you're showing us a property there. And it was built in 1948, those were the war years. I don't think construction was all that good in those days. And that house looks kind of plain to me, and I'm wondering, I'm trying to think of what your house would look like sitting next door to that.
Well, my house
Yes,
is a two-story dwelling.
built 1978.
Right. So this house here would have oak, I would think, in it, and it would be, and the valuation of these homes, this is a market value that we have here, you would expect to be in pretty good class condition. But, and I have a tree in front. It doesn't quite look like that for sure, and I certainly can supply a photograph, but the city can supply a photograph as well, because their file has it.
Your house was built in 1978?
Yes, as far as I'm aware.
Do you know what year they started using 2x6 construction? Is your house 2x6
No.
construction?
No, no.
Do
We
you know
have
what-
seen the wall.
Do you know what year they started using 2x6 construction?
It varied depending on, it was sometime in the 70s. Some custom home builders did.
Okay, and then, so on the front page of your brief, 2020 comparable sales chosen by the assessment department. So this is the sales again.
That were originally chosen.
Yeah, so that's, I don't know, that's a pretty tight range there, 456, 480, 445, 440. And you think your property isn't in the range of, shouldn't be in this range, in the 440s?
Not at
'Cause it's-
440.
It's newer than most of these?
If you went on that rationale, then the homes that are in the north part of this neighborhood would be valued less, and that's not the fact. That's what I was demonstrating on page 3.
But you're showing us 4 properties with a middle range of 478,000, and then you're saying your properties should be at 408. And I'm trying to think of why it should be.
Well, this isn't our,
That's the assessment.
that's the assessing officer.
I'm stating that that's wrong, or that's inaccurate. It's not reflective of the subject.
Okay. Okay, because it was on in your brief and,
No, if you go to page 4, those are the subject, the properties that I feel are more reflective.
okay, which, there's
The
4
middle of-
there?
the middle of the
Middle of the
page.
page, okay.
Proposed comparable sales.
They're in the 300,000 range. Do you know the condition or the lot size or the dwelling size of these properties?
They're on here.
You can, if you go to page 5, 6, 7, you can see them there.
Okay, where are we here? 414 Waterloo.
So they're 40 to 50 square, or 40 to 50 square foot, or 40 to 50 foot wide lots. So they're similar in lot size, and they're within 200 square feet of each other.
Okay.
They're built,
This first one is built 1944.
Yeah.
Do you think that is lesser quality than the dwelling built 1978?
You know, if you're comparing a home that's built in the 40s to the 70s, it comes down to more of what the cosmetic finishings are. You know, does it have a modern kitchen, are the windows newer? Because in both cases, windows last 20, 30 years. Any house built in the 70s is ready for remodel, just like any home built in the 40s. The thing is, the homes that were built in the 40s in these areas, they're cared for quite well because the area is sought after. And so using the age as a determining factor for value is skewish. It's not a linear, you know, comparison.
Is the subject property a center hall plan like this one on page 8?
No.
Standard, that's pretty standard, 2-story type house, no?
There's a staircase to the
You
side.
come to the front door and there's an exit on the side, but the front door walks you from a short vestibule right into the living room.
Okay, that's all my questions.
I did not present the data to you in an appraisal format because I think it's confusing and overwhelming. I did the analysis and I thought that this would be a better format to present in.
With the backup pictures of your properties.
Yes, very good. I
I just-
appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman, I'm just, this is actually a comment through you to the assessor. I'm surprised when they made a point of coming in and taking pictures in the house. And I'm surprised that's not part of the file. I mean, you come in here without pictures, but I can certainly supply you or the panel with a picture of that property. With
No.
one branch knocked off the tree.
Yeah. No, that's fine, we'll base our decision on the evidence presented here today.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for coming. That will conclude 499 Lindsay.
Thank you very much. Thank you to the panel, the assessor, and the secretary.
Thank you.
Very good. And we will
Just
begin
when
with-
everyone's exhausted and waiting for pizza, it's my turn.
You have 2,
You
so.
could have went, had a little nap someplace
Yeah.
around the corner there or
Or
something.
went for that pizza.
Yeah. 120 Spence. Rebecca
Is that what we're
Forman?
gonna do first?
I believe so, yes.
Is that your calculator?
No, that's available for you to
Oh.
do your numbers.
And Karen and I have already spoken before, so we'll see if we can go any further along.
Yeah, exactly, right?
120 Spence. 120.
I'll just grab the coats.
Okay, bear with me for one quick second. And I did reschedule this because I was out of town prior, so I appreciate you accommodating me. I did this once before, a long time ago, like 8 years ago, and it was with one person in a rec room somewhere. So, and so this is very new to me, and I don't know if I'm gonna, everything that I have, if it's gonna be able to be submitted since there's so many people. It's not what I was expecting, but, all right, so we are looking, bear with me.
We will begin with the assessor's submission.
Okay.
Get sworn in first.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Just swear you in first.
fire when you're ready. Oh, yes,
Yeah, swear you in. So you
Okay.
can affirm or you can swear.
Doesn't-
Bible?
sure.
Yep, okay. So, and then, please state your name.
Rebecca Forgan?
Do you swear that the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. The subject property has this parcel ID of 12-0, we are doing Winnipeg Spence, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
20
okay.
You bet.
12-091353,000. The street address is 120 Spence Street. It is in the neighborhood area, 103 West Broadway. It is a 2.5-story multifamily conversion with an effective age of 1941. The square footage is 2,196 square foot, a full part area basement, no finished basement on this house, 3 full bathrooms, 1 half bathroom, and no other characteristics. The lot size is 3,278 square feet. The land influence is commercial club recreation building. The 2020 assessment roll is $301,000, which is a total assessment per square foot of $137.07. Comparables 1 through 4 are also in the same neighborhood area of West Broadway. They are all 2.5-story multifamily conversions. They range in effective age from 1952 to 1976. The square footage is 1,820 square feet to 2,472 square feet. Full basement and full basement part area. Only comparable 1 has basement finish, the other 3 comparables do not. The bathrooms are similar, and only comparable 2 has an attached multi-garage. The rest of the comparables have no further amenities. The square footage size of the lots range from 2,876 square feet to 6,130 square feet. The time-adjusted sale price is $133.24 to $164 per square foot time-adjusted sales price. Okay, and the map is enclosed there, and just Ms. Forgan and I did have previous conversations when her board was supposed to go the first time, and we tried to come to agreement, which we couldn't, and I did just put down there that the recommendation we feel to reduce the 2020 assessment on this property is $293,000. That's the value I did propose to her, and she did not accept it, so that's why we are here today.
That's why we're here today.
Okay,
Okay,
and that concludes it,
That's-
thank you.
okay. Do you have any questions of what the assessor has presented?
It says that there's a half bath. There is no half bath in that house.
Okay.
There may have been one, the basement is entirely unfinished. There's one room that has tiles falling off, and there may have been plumbing there before it's roughed in, but nothing exists there. So I have pictures, other than a murder room, that all these old houses have, there's really nothing else. So there's no half bath. I'm assuming that they were referring to half bath that may or may not have been in the basement, probably at one point. And I'm guessing that that's the basement is the part area that's finished? Oh, it says not finished. Do you have where it shows a half bath?
No, I do not.
Okay, all right.
Can I clarify
Yeah,
that?
please.
Can I, that
Yes,
she
go
has
right
3
ahead.
full bathrooms?
Well, I have 2 normal bathrooms, and the bathroom on the 3rd floor is a very special situation because the ceilings are so sloped that there is a tub, but you can't stand up in that shower. So the only way you can take a shower in that bathroom is to sit down on a stool and shower. which is definitely a deficiency, but there's not really a way around it. So technically 3 bathrooms, 3 full is arguable. But yeah, no half bath at all. There's 3 apartments, it's a legal converted dwelling, and each apartment has 1 bathroom.
Okay. Any other questions?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I do have a couple questions. So in the comps, the multifamily conversion, is there a way to know how many units there are? Per property that we're looking at? Like, are they duplexes or are they sixplexes?
You know what, I don't know the answer to that
Okay.
question.
Like, there's one here that the lot is almost double the size, and that's the most expensive property as well. So multifamily, I mean, if we're comparing my, 3 tiny little apartments to a sixplex, I'd like to know if it's just apples to apples, or, I mean, even, a duplex I'd even say is comparable, but, due to the weirdness of the 3rd floor, the 3rd floor can only be rented at a very low rate.
Mr. Chair, could you back me up on that? Would it have to be 4 or less?
I was
Or-
going to ask you, is there a
Yeah.
range when they say multifamily? Is there a range between 2 and 6 or something,
Well,
or?
I thought it went up to 4 and then it switches over to the other classification.
What's the other
I don't know. I can't
classification?
tell you.
Oh, like a,
Multifamily, say
yeah, multifamily, like,
These are-
this
these
is
would be-
residential?
These would be all
Yeah.
single family houses that have been converted.
Sure, but I just looked at a
2.5
house, I just
stories.
looked at a house that was a single family and it had 5 units in it.
Yeah.
So,
And that might fall under a different class than for us. That's why.
well, this house was actually a commercial house when I purchased it. It was on the commercial property. It wasn't in the residential area of MLS, so it is technically, I pay a license every year. It is technically a commercial property, even though, or it was sold as a commercial property. So I don't know what classification.
I think in terms of assessment purposes, this is what I wanted the chair to confirm.
Yes.
I think it's for us to be here in residential area, I think it's
Understood.
4 units and less. So these comparables would be 4 units and less.
Okay, but sometimes
Google
people
on
have something listed as 5 or 6 units. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're legal, but they might sell higher if there's 5
If you have
units on a
information
home.
on that, you can tell us that during your presentation.
Okay,
But-
so, and just, the other gentleman seemed to have something sent to him. I have this, but I didn't have any of the comps sent to me. Is that something that's done? No, okay. I can't tell you about the multifamilies that are listed because I don't know how many units there are. So I'm just kind of going blind here. I have to assume that they're comparable to my places, but since we don't know how many units are in them,
Well, I'm thinking
Yeah.
I think that's what I just clarified. My
that
understanding is.
it's under 5.
Right.
Okay,
Yes.
so if there's 4 apartments that are each, that if there's 2 2-bedrooms, 1 1-bedroom and 1 bachelor, it's still a big difference between mine. So they're comps in terms of the kind of the structure, but makes a big difference in terms of value and what rental you're gonna get from it, because this is a rental property for me, so.
But we don't value it on the rental value. We look at
Sure,
it right
but-
based on, yeah.
Sure, but the amount of units and the amount of bedrooms, does that have anything to do with the value?
I don't believe the units, like
bedrooms?
when we're valuing the 2.5 story multifamily conversion, it's based like on the square footage and these characteristics.
Okay. Now, if I don't have handouts to give to everybody, can I still put comps into?
Yes, you can, you're
Okay.
under oath, so you can give us verbal
Okay.
information.
Okay, so what's the next step?
We'll see if the panel has any questions.
Okay,
Ms. Garrity, do you have any questions of the assessor?
No, I do not.
Mr. DeLego?
Oh, so do we come to the conclusion that this is not a commercial property, it's a residential?
It's a
Or-
residential and it would be 4 units or less.
agreed. Sorry for the
Okay,
confusion.
have you seen the area? Have you viewed the building?
No, I did not go. No.
And the other question, I think we're going to both, is they never list bedrooms, I guess, assuming that the building square footage and all that matters, and you can have as many bedrooms as you want if you make them smaller or whatever, so you'll never see bedrooms on the residential. Other than that, no further questions.
Do you have any sales information on these sales?
No, I
Yeah.
don't.
They're all in the reasonable close proximity.
Yeah, they're all about, well, they have the effective age about the same other than comparable for, which could be a little newer.
I was thinking in terms of the location.
Um,
Do you think the location is similar? Subject has no advantages over the other comparables or disadvantages?
I can't personally speak on that, I'm not familiar with the area.
They all have variant ages. Would you suppose that was done when they were converted from single-family homes to multifamily? Like the subject property being 1906 to 1941? Do you have any information on?
No, I don't.
That's all my questions. If you'd like to give us
Sure,
your
I mean,
information? Go right
typically,
ahead.
typically the further south you go, the better property values become, the further north. We all live in Winnipeg, so we all know the problems with when you go further north. So I would say that they're comparable. However, I can't see pictures, I can't see anything, and if we're just going based on the facts, as far as that goes, I do have about 4 different comps. Another thing, I think when we spoke, Kara, you said that the best thing to do is to find comps that are closest to April of when this was mailed out, and so these are also, in my opinion, it's a much different market in 2019 than it is in 2017. It was a much harder market there. Property values have gone down. I know that we're not talking about anything past a timeline, but the house next door to me was sold for $320. The sale was retracted, so I can't use that as a comp, but it's now being offered at $234. So there's a big adjustment in prices. For things that are a little bit more recent, in July 2018, 112 Spence, which is a house 2 over from mine, is a 4-plex, so 1 additional apartment in there and more bedrooms, though I don't know if that makes a difference. That sold for $275 in July 2018, and that's 2,200 square feet, 2,278 actually. 2.5 stories, and I don't believe it had a garage or a basement, same as mine. So we're looking at $275 for that. 250 Yonge Street, which is just down the street as well, close to one of the other comps. Was completely renovated, finished basement, brand new kitchens, duplex, new furnace, central air conditioning, new bathrooms, laundry, 5 bedrooms, and that sold for $277 in March 2018. 271 Langside, also a duplex, 4 bedrooms. Everything is separated, hydro, gas, and hot water, all the meters were separated. Ensuite laundry in both of the apartments. I do not have laundry in any of my apartments. Listed at, or sold at $257.7 in April of 2018. 268 Spence Street, another duplex, beautifully renovated kitchen, granite countertops, garage plus 2 parking spots, partially finished basement, separately metered, sold for $235 in 2018. So all of those dates that all of those dates are much closer to the assessment time that we're looking at.
When was the last sale, pardon me?
The last sale was, in 2018. I don't know the exact month, apologies. So, and all in much better shape than my place. So I bought this for $280 in 2015. It was a higher market 4 years ago. The market was different, and I don't disagree with some of the assessments, but in 2017, my assessment was $271. In 2018, it went up to $282, $11,000, felt that was a fair assessment. In 2020, my assessment went up to $301, for that's $19,000 more than the previous assessment. So for $30,000 in West Broadway is a big leap in that neighborhood. I remember speaking to Carol on the phone, and she did say that, there have been increases in sales, but it's a matter of how much. This was already a high market value at the time that I purchased it. There are many deficiencies in the house. I have not really done anything to the house other than a little bit of paint. The back area of parking, 2 parking spots, it needs to be paved. The sidewalks are graded towards the house. They need to be done. I do have pictures, but I only have them on my iPad. I don't know if that's, yeah,
We don't like to use phones and iPads and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
You can tell us about about the condition of the house.
Sure,
because
so
you're under oath,
absolutely. So there are three kitchens, but I'd say that they're probably all done in the 70s. One was maybe the 80s, but they're very dated kitchens. In the 3rd floor, as I mentioned already, the ceilings slope a lot, so there's only so much usable space, very little storage, and the bathroom is a big problem. I mean, if the bathroom was normal, I'd probably be able to, the value would be a lot more on that, but there's big issues with that. The original floors, the house is over 100 years old. Those need to be completely replaced. They're drying and splintering. The back roof needs to be done, however, the fire escape is sitting on it, so that is a huge endeavor as well. Porch is rotting and needs to be either retrofitted or replaced. The boiler is original. It's a 100-year-old boiler covered in asbestos. It's about a $30,000 remediation that I'd be looking at to change that, and I'm expecting that to go any day. Though it has been going for 100 years, so you never know. Also, the chimney needs relining. About half of the house is aluminum windows. The other half have been upgraded. And then I did have some comments about kind of the bedrooms and that, but Mr. Board Member mentioned that that's not relevant to, I mean, on the 2nd floor apartment, it's a 1-bedroom, however, it's completely open. The only closed off room is the bathroom. There's no other doors. And then, I mean, it's a chopped up house. It's a multi-family residential, it's a converted residential dwelling. So, as you know, with those old houses, you chop them up the best you can. So that is pretty much it from my point on those, but, all of the comps that I have are all well below with much less work needed, and they're all from 2018 and some 2019. So all a little bit more relevant than the comps that have been presented here from 2016 and the newest one of 2017.
Okay.
Yeah, that's about all I have for that, I think.
Thank you. We'll see if there's any questions. The assessor first.
Sure, just one. Are all 3 units rented out?
Yes, they are.
Okay, and what are you getting for the rents on the 3 units?
The 3rd floor, though, didn't we just discuss that it wasn't a relevant thing, what rents are? That didn't add value?
Well, if you don't have to answer it, if you don't want to.
No, I'm happy to answer it, but it's just, if someone just said that it didn't add the actual rent, doesn't.
Well, we'll decide if
that
it
you
has
don't
any
base-
relevance.
Sure, so I rent the 2nd floor for $800. I rent the main floor for $900, and those both include parking, and I rent the upper floor for $400.
I don't have any other questions.
Okay. Mr. DeLego, any questions?
So what number are you looking for?
Well, I mean, if I extrapolate all of these amounts, and, I understand that I bought it for a certain amount, and that was 4 years ago, and that in essence, property values do go up, but markets also fluctuate, and it isn't anywhere near. My neighbor is selling their property with the exact same footprint and more or less the same layout for $234, and it's been sitting on the market for about 90 days. So, I mean, the honest answer, I'm looking for the lowest possible evaluation that I can get. I don't have a formula, but I would say that probably at about 122 $122 a square foot is probably about what I'm looking for.
The other question I had was, all this upgrading that you say is needed,
Yeah.
have you got any quotes from professional contractors on what it would cost?
I have for a boiler, I don't have them on my person, but for the boiler, I
I
had.
know the boiler, I mean, in general.
Yeah, I mean, and there's some things that, that I would be done myself, but the back roof, I think the cost was gonna be about $4,000. The roof isn't that much, but the problem is they have to remove 3 stories of fire escape in order to do that little area of the roof. And there is a leak that comes in the window due to ice damming in the old roof. So, you know, I'm up there and I'm taking the snow off in the meantime until that's something that I can get done. The boiler, yes, I have looked at. The new chimney liner is about a $2,000 cost. Windows, there's probably about 10 in total that need to be done, and they'd be roughly at a cost from anywhere from $700 to $1,200, depending on the size of the window. The 3rd floor bath, I mean, I can't do anything about that.
You haven't got any quotes of somebody that came in and says this is written quote that
Just for the boiler and the chimney. And I have had windows done, quotes on windows on my other property that we're gonna be doing next. And so I can extrapolate those to this property because of the similar size, but not on that exact
What was
property.
the quote for the boiler?
For the boiler, well, I've had a few different quotes. One of them, all said and done, was about $30,000. He said it would be about 22 for the boiler and removal and about 5 for the remediation of the asbestos, and then about 2 for the chimney. So just under 30. I think that's high. I've had somebody else give me an informal quote, and I think that I could probably get it done for about 15. So, but the actual quote that I have is very high.
the boiler, I think you're right, because
I mean, I'd love to just show you a
we had
picture
the
of the
boiler
boiler.
replaced in our church and it was 75 grand. So-
Yeah, and I mean, church is huge, right? But yeah, no, it's, and I don't wanna show you all the pictures, but I just would love to show you my boiler. Cause it's a beauty.
I really don't wanna
Okay.
look at another boiler. I know
Can I
the
just
trouble
ask
that
one
can
more
be.
question,
Yeah.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, we'll see if Mr. DeVega's finished.
What's that?
Questions?
That's it.
That's
Okay.
it, go ahead.
Just a question I thought of, when you purchased the house in 2015, were you aware of the work that needed to be done, like the boiler being replaced and?
Well, no, I mean, you know what, I wasn't that savvy, I've become more savvy with every renovation or quote or issue that gets done. I learn something, and I've learned the hard way. So no, I didn't know that I didn't have a home inspection done, and I was not aware of the intricacy of a boiler. I was thinking furnace. A furnace costs about $5,000. I didn't realize the extent of what's involved in a boiler, that it's much more expensive, and I had no idea that it was wrapped in asbestos. I didn't even know that was a thing. So I wasn't aware of that. Windows I knew needed to be done at some point. Didn't know about the chimney liner. The floors, you know, you look at them, but over the years, as it dries, they've splintered. I have pictures where I filled in parts of the floor with putty just because I don't want anyone to get hurt until it's such a time that I can, you know, but I mean, that's 2,000 square feet of floors minus the kitchens to do, so yeah.
Okay.
To
Okay,
the extent,
thank you.
yes.
Is this the first multifamily property?
This is
you
the first
purchased?
multifamily property I purchased, yes.
Okay, that's all my questions.
I didn't get to ask any.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't have a whole lot, but you had indicated the amount of work that needs to be done on the place. Do you have a regular maintenance program because of it being a rental property for you?
I mean, I do, and I'm very quick on things. These are things that everyone's been able to live with. The boiler is something that concerns me because in Winnipeg, they always go in -30 weather in February.
Do you have an annual amount that you spend on repairs for the property?
Like an actual budgeted amount? I deal with things as they come up, but I'd say that I probably spend about $4,000 a year on maintenance. I do get my boiler inspected every year, I get my fire alarms inspected every year, I get everything done for everybody's safety. And yeah, so,
And I think you mentioned that 122 square foot price as your
yeah,
wish? Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Okay, that concludes 120 Spence.
Okay,
We will move on to 112 Lipton.
okay.
That's this.
112 Lipton. Okay, Carol, when you're ready.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. The subject property has a parcel ID of 120816300000. It is 112 Lipton Street, this is the street address, in the neighborhood area of 113 Wolseley. It is a 2.5-story multifamily conversion again. The effective year built is 1940. It is 2,043 square feet with a full basement finish, 2 full baths, 1 half bath, 1 shower, central air conditioning, and a detached single garage. The lot size is 3,113 square feet. The 2020 assessment is 443,000 square feet for a total assessment per square foot of $216.84. Attached to this, we actually have the sale, which now we'll show some pictures. Comparable 1 through 4 is all in the same neighborhood area of 113 Wolseley. They are all 2.5 multifamily conversions. They range in age from 1930 to 1965. The square footage is 1462 square foot to 2201 square feet. They all have full basements. Comparable 1, 2, and 3 have a basement finished, as does the subject. The washrooms are similar. Comparable 2 and 4 have central air conditioning, where the subject does not. Comparable 2 and 4 have a detached single garage, same as the subject. The square footage of the lot size ranges from 2,834 square feet to 3,788 square feet. And the time-adjusted sale prices on these comparables are $200.21 up to $250.51 per square foot. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Questions?
Yeah, sorry, the first part went through a little bit quickly, but you said that there is central air. There's no central air, these are radiators in this house. It's not a forced air house. And it says that there is central air on the listing, so no central air there. The house was built in 1913, not 1940. And I'm sorry, Kara, I don't know if you can repeat some of that, but I'm not sure if everything was factual there. For a second, I actually thought you were talking about another house.
Okay.
Maybe you could, would you like her to go over it again?
Please.
Like on the
beginning?
subject property?
Just the description, just because those are the only two things that I caught, but they were.
Oh, okay, just that it was the living area, 2,043 square feet.
Yeah, just more about what the property has, like central air and.
Okay, basement finish, yes.
Mhm, yes.
2 full baths, 1 half bath, and 1 shower.
Okay.
And then, okay, central air we had, you're saying no. And then a detached single garage?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
And sorry, I did just forget to say again, Rebecca and I did discuss and we talked about a reduction of 437,000, but we weren't in agreement to that number, so.
It was a very nice conversation, but, okay.
Okay. Thank you, Kara. Questions of what she has
So the
presented?
first thing, this one's a little bit tricky. It is listed, it is zoned as R2, as almost 95% of properties in Wolseley are zoned. It does have a second kitchen.
Is this This
But
is
it's not-
questions now.
Oh, sorry, no questions.
Okay,
Sorry,
we'll
my
see if
apologies.
the panel has questions, and
My
then we'll get to
apologies.
your, Kathleen, questions?
Just the rate, is it called a cap rate that we,
In
in commercial
yeah,
it is?
cap
What
rates,
is
yeah.
it, what do we do for residential? Sorry.
Well, we don't
We don't-
capitalize the
we're-
net incomes.
We don't do it that
No.
way. Okay.
Not
Then I
on
don't have a
properties like this.
question.
Mr. DeLego, question?
There.
Yes,
No, I don't have any.
okay, will you buy the property? Try to buy the property?
No.
Did you say something about having pictures? Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
This wasn't bought that long ago, so.
Um, So this is a picture of the subject property
Yes.
for the sale, I guess listing for the sale, okay. And your comparables. Two of the comparables. Lipton Street, okay, yes. How would you consider the comparables? Ethelbert is a nice street in that area. Would that be a more desirable property on Ethelbert?
I don't know personally.
Okay. That's all my questions, thank you. Tell us what you'd like to about your property, lead us through your
Sure.
information.
I feel that all the comparables are, they're all good streets in Wolseley. However, they're all multifamily conversions, and this is not used as a multifamily. It was sold as a single-family dwelling. It does have a second kitchen, and the previous renters did rent it out. They did rent out the upstairs suite. However, it's never been legally duplex, and as such, I do not rent it as a duplex because, so when I first purchased this property, I had full intentions to duplex, to rent out both units. When I found out that it wasn't actually a legal duplex, and I looked into everything that needs to be done to bring it and register with the city as a duplex, there's a lot, and I didn't have the wherewithal to do that. So I did pay, in Wolseley, multifamily dwellings, if they're in good shape, do go for more, they fetch a bigger dollar typically than a decent single-family dwelling. And so this one, all the comps are multifamily. This is used by one family and rented as one family. It's not a legal duplex. It is zoned, again, R2, but again, 95% of the houses in Wolseley are zoned R2, maybe even 100%, I'm not sure. So the comps are all from a multifamily, and I'm assuming that if it's a multifamily conversion, that they're all legal? Would that be accurate?
We have no way of telling from this thing here,
Okay,
whether they're legal or not.
sure.
One would think that if they're there, we should consider them to be legal. I think that would be the proper thing to do.
Okay. This one was not sold as a multifamily, it was sold as a single residential dwelling.
The subject property you're talking about.
Yeah, my property was sold as a single residential dwelling, but they did make statements that they rented out the upstairs, and there is a kitchen upstairs. So, part of my remediation is either making this house a legal duplex, which would probably be in the range of another $30,000, or continuing to rent it as a single family with another kitchen, or taking out that kitchen and doing something with the entrance, which would probably be another $20,000 to $40,000. So either way I slice it, on either which one, I have a much bigger investment. I paid high for this house. It was a different market 2.5 years ago. We're currently sitting in a buyer's market. It was definitely a seller's market at the time. There were 5 other offers on this house, and I paid high. And part of the reason I paid high was because of the duplex potential, which it no longer has on a legal basis based on the city of Winnipeg. I do have some comps. I've just picked out 3 on houses that are similar, that are actual single-family dwellings, which is how this one was sold and how it is registered with the city and how it is used. So I don't know which one is better to do now, but I guess we can go over those comps. And they're all on decent parts of Wolseley. 202 Lenore Street at 1865 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, no garage, and basement roughed in for $315,900. 1221 Wolseley.
The date, do you know the date of that sale?
September 6, 2018 was when it was sold. 520 Dominion was 2,200 square feet. September 15th, 2018 is when it was sold for $327,900. So comparable square footage. It does have a garage, it does not have a basement, but it is on a 50-foot lot, which is usually fetches way more money. 4 bedroom and 3 bath.
What
And
size did you say that was?
2,200 square feet
Thank
for
you.
that one, 520 Dominion, and garage, no basement, but a double lot. And that one went for $327,900 in September of 2018. And then there's 1221 Wolseley, which sold in March of 2019, which is the closest I could get to what I was told to look for comparables, around the April range. That sold for $369,900. Also had a brand new kitchen, totally updated, knob and tube taken out, and that house was 1,748 square feet. And on Wolseley, which is a very sought after street. So this house, and this is one of the things that is very troubling to me, the same owners did own it for a long time. But in 2015 and 16, the assessment was $306,000. On October 27th, there was a readjustment made in 2017, so a few months after I purchased the house in June, 4 months after, there was a readjustment. I don't even know what that is. I wasn't even aware of it until I got on the phone with 311. The readjustment went from $306,000 in 2017 to $383,000, and I suspect that they readjusted it because the people had lived there for a long time and the purchase price was way higher than the assessment. Now, I don't know when they do readjustments. I was told you only get assessments every 2 years, but that's $77,000 up from the last assessment. Then in 2018, for 2019, it went up another $24,000. And I suspect that's because I pulled a permit to do some electrical work, but I did not do $24,000 worth of electrical work. And then in 2019, for this year, 2020, it went up another $36,000. So in a total of 2 years, this property has gone up in value, according to the city, $137,000 in 2 years. Even if it's just from the readjustment, which they did almost right after the sale of the house, when they saw the pictures and they saw the description, it's gone up another $60,000 from that. In that time, I pulled 2 permits, trying to be a good citizen and do everything correctly, electrical and plumbing. And the plumbing was, I found out that they didn't do some renovations legally, they did not permit them, and there were some deficiencies with the plumbing. I spent about $7,000 on basically just bringing that house up to code in plumbing. No value added, it's just basically became what I assumed it was. And for electrical also, the house had stated no knob and tube. There is in fact knob and tube in the house. I left all the knob and tube, but I had to do some electrical work to make sure that everything was secure, to add some safety prevention, or some fail-safes for safety because of knob and tube. And I also split the panel because I thought maybe I would go ahead and I wanted to do that before anybody moved in. And so those two permits were roughly $10,000 in work, and it seems to have sparked a big spike. But yeah, so I still have knob and tube. Some of the big issues with this house, and there's not a ton, the roof will need to be done probably in the next couple of years. All knob and tube wiring, which is at least a $12,000 to $13,000 endeavor. I kind of extrapolated it. I'm paying a higher insurance premium because of the knob and tube, and in 20 years it's a bit of a wash. So I figure I'll leave it as it is. It's almost the second and third floor is entire. Or sorry, I apologize. The entire second floor is aluminum windows. I've had a quote for that. I'm changing a few out at a time. I've got the extra kitchen to remove, and then on the second floor, all of the walls are wood paneling that's been painted, and there's a drop ceiling. I don't know what's above it. I suspect it's because of the plaster being in bad shape. There is no AC, and the boiler's about 25 to 30 years old. So it's ticking along. I don't have concern. It's not a boiler like a 100-year-old boiler at my other house, but that is something to be done in the near future. So I've remediated some of the problems. I've spent another $10,000 over high market, and there's no way that I would be able to get $443,000. There's no way I would be able to get my purchase price in this market, never mind the additional money that I've spent in just making the house remediated and fixing the issues.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Questions?
No question.
Ms. Garrity?
Just you're asking, what do you think the value should be?
Again, I think that we're looking at about a, I'd say based on the other comps and based on everything that I've told you, I would put it at about 190.
190?
Per square foot.
Oh, per square foot?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Scared.
No, that's okay. 190 a square foot, 185 perhaps. The other comps that I gave you were 211, 149, and 169 a square foot. So, and I mean, and the comps also that have been provided by whomever put this package together are not that far off. Again, they're multifamily. I don't know. I haven't been able to see them. So I can't tell if they're I don't know what it is, but 2 out of the 4 are right at the 195 mark. And they're all from 2017, 2015, 2016, and 2017, which was a very different market than 2019.
And you mentioned that your, the last assessment was 383, is that correct?
The last assessment, pardon me, the last assessment, after I bought the house in June, it went up, June 2017 I bought the house, October 2017, they issued a readjustment. Now I don't even know what that is, I just found out about that. So I had thought that the assessment jumped from $306,000 to $407,000. But there was, 4 months after I purchased the house, there was a readjustment. Now, do you know why they do a readjustment, Kara?
It's because the sale took place, so obviously our data or our information is incorrect, so we have to go back and update our information.
So I assume that was why. So, in October 2017, they increased the value by $77,000, which is,
That's where you said the 383.
that's the 383. So it went from 306 to 383 shortly after I purchased the house. And since that 383, there's been 2 assessments, up 24 and up 36. So the city adjusted my house at 383 in 2017, and it's gone up $60,000 since then, and I suspect it's because of permitting. But I mean, the work that I've done for the permits has not given any value to the house. It's just made it so that it's safe, that the plumbing is safe, and that the electrical is safe. That's it.
I did just have a question.
Yes.
I just see on the notes here, it says a ductless mini split air conditioning unit was added after the sale.
Just in the one bedroom. That was part of the electrical.
Okay, so there is partial air
One
conditioning.
room has one air conditioner,
Okay,
but it's not central AC. There's one air conditioner.
Okay, thank you.
Is it illegal?
So you're saying you think should be, the numbers you'd like to see is 190 a square foot? Is that it,
Roughly,
roughly?
roughly. I
How
mean,
about smoothly?
smooth is good too. Um, hold on. I don't know why I'm using a calculator that I'm not familiar with. Not that it's rocket science.
well, if it's 190, that comes to 388.
Yeah,
Okay,
I mean, which the city is adjusted after the sale by looking at everything that was done. So yeah, 190 is what I think would be a fair assessment. Considering as well that the market has shifted.
Okay.
Do I get extra points for everyone being tired and hangry?
we're not tired now. I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Did you buy both these properties at the same year?
No.
2017?
No, Lipton was purchased in 2017, in the summer of 2017, and Spence was purchased in October of 2015.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, and you inspected, you had a look through Lipton before you purchased it?
Did
You-
I
You
have-
were able to go into the property when you were
Did
buying
I
it?
see it?
Yes.
Yes, I saw it.
There was nobody living in that suite upstairs?
There was somebody living in the suite, yes.
But-
The owner was owner occupied on the main floor, and the suite upstairs, somebody was living in it. Which is what led me to believe that it wouldn't be, that I can rent them both out.
So what happened when you purchased it? They moved, the people moved out, or?
Yes, yeah, it was vacant possession.
And then you couldn't?
It's not that I couldn't, I can't legally do it. So if the city finds out that I am renting a suite and it's not legal, like this is not a legal duplex, this is it's zoned R2, but it is a residential, single residential dwelling.
So you bought it under the impression that it was bringing in more
Yes,
revenue?
yes. Spence has, and you don't have to have a license for a duplex, but a converted residential dwelling, when it's more than 2 units, like Spence is, it has to be legally done. That has a license, it was all on the up and up. A duplex, it's not necessary. So with this house, when I found out that it wasn't actually a legal duplex, I can't, if the city finds out that I'm renting it, I have to get rid of my tenants and then I have to remediate everything. So I chose to rent it to a larger family as it is, and they're using both units in one family. Yeah. And that does bring in quite a bit less rental income.
That's all my questions. Thank you very much.
Okay.
That
You'll
concludes.
hear from us.
Okay, and
Well,
And is
yes.
it just a matter of people, it's all just, everyone puts in their opinion, or you decide together? Okay, because as I said, I've only met once when it was with one
Yeah,
assessor.
it's
The
not my
assessor is not
decision.
involved.
No, I was, yeah, okay, I appreciate your time, thank you very much.
We have unfinished business left on the docket here. Thank you for coming, and you will hear from the
Okay.
secretary before long.
Nice to meet you in person, Carrie.
Okay, 1230 Fairfield Avenue.
So that's the one I was talking about, that was a request for an adjournment yesterday from the applicant. So,
So it was put on today, so did
no,
you-
there was no adjournment, there was a request, as I said earlier. So now it is up to you guys to decide if you would like to adjourn it, or if you would like to hear it today.
Well, we'll deal with that in a
We'll do
minute.
it
First, we'll
Last, then, we can
we'll
do it
talk
last.
to the assessor. Did you have any contact with 1230 Fairfield? No? Could you, would you like to read it into the roll for us, please?
Sure, the subject is 0309-123-0800. It has a street address of 1230 Fairfield Avenue, a neighborhood area of 637 Fairfield Park. Do you want me to keep going?
No, just the value and,
Okay, 473,000 for the 2020 assessment roll, a square foot rate of 317.45.
and I see there's a note on there.
Pardon me?
There's a note on the,
Yeah. To reduce the assessment to 449.
okay. Okay, thank you very much. 182 Cordova.
Okay,
You have any contact with the owner?
no.
Contact? Okay, and maybe you can read this into the roll as well.
Sure. The subject is 120605-18000, 182 Cordova Street, a 2020 assessment value of 410,000.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. $299. $299 Cordova.
Okay, a parcel ID of 12060338-000, 299 Cordova Street, a 2020 assessment roll of 415,000.
Okay, thinking, was there any contact with the owner?
No.
Thank you. $15 Mount Allison Bay.
Okay, a parcel ID of 03-03-02-06-0000, 15 Mount Allison Bay, a 2020 assessment of 307,000.
Thank you. And 2 McGill Avenue. Any contact with the owner?
Nope.
Okay.
03-04-504-5000, 2 McGill Avenue, a 2020 assessment roll of 332,000.
Thank you very much. That concludes the hearing for this afternoon. Thank you all for diligent hard work.
Yeah, just a second.
It's freezing. I'm just going out to my coat, I'll be